Call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment Board of Adjustment of September 29, 2025. The notice is required by statute has been satisfied and the state will certify the same as an execute. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Goldberg.
Here.
Mr. Trachtenberg.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Schuster.
Here.
Mr. Benoit.
Here.
Mr. Kramer.
Here.
Ms. Simmons.
Here.
Ms. Polara. Mr. Woodford.
Here.
Mr. Older.
Here.
Mr. Bush. And I, Sonia Santiago, here.
Okay, first matter on the agenda is approval of the minutes of May 19th, 2025. Has everybody read the minutes? Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Benoit.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Next, we have several resolutions, the first being BA-10-25, Jason and Alina Burke.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is a memorializing resolution with respect to the application filed by Jason and Elena Burke with respect to their property at 43 Lord William Penn Drive, who applied to the board for an interpretation of our ordinance to determine if a variance was necessary for a pool cabana that they wished to construct. The board had determined that since there was no potential living quarters in the cabana, that a variance was not required, although it was conditioned on the applicant filing a deed restriction that in fact the cabana may not be used as living quarters. And as such, that application was so decided by the board.
Okay, thank you. Members of the board, any questions about this resolution? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Somebody.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Ms. Santiago, roll call.
Mr. Goldberg.
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg.
Yes.
Ms. Polara. Mr. Schuster.
Yep.
Mr. Benoit.
Yes.
Ms. Simmons.
Yes.
And Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
So moved.
The second resolution is with respect to the application filed by Alexander Rose for property at 46 Normandy Heights Road, who applied to the board for variance relief relating to the construction of a 12 by 20 shed. That application required, or that construction would require variances for combined side yard, an accessory structure in the front yard, and in order to maintain 4 accessory structures where only 1 is permitted. And for the reasons that are set forth in the resolution, that application was conditionally granted with our standard conditions, as well as conditions indicating that prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall relocate the existing beehive to be no less than 15 feet from the front property line. The applicant shall obtain a construction permit to repair the existing gazebo to the satisfaction of the Township Engineering Department. The permit for the repair of the gazebo and for the installation of the proposed shed may be obtained simultaneously, and there shall be no utilities within the proposed shed.
Okay. Board members, any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Santiago.
Mr. Goldberg.
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Schuster.
Yes.
Mr. Benoit.
Yes.
Ms. Simmons.
Yes.
Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Next, moving on to the public hearings. The first, we're going to take them slightly out of order. Do you have to make any announcement on the Dwyer
Well,
application?
we don't have to announce, but just in the event someone is in the audience with respect to the application filed by Edward Dwyer at 17 Springbrook Road. That application is not going to be heard this evening. The applicant will notice again, or actually for the first time, for his hearing date, which will be November 24th.
Okay, thank you. We're going to bypass Mr. Ewing's application for the moment, and we're going to go to BA-13-25, Declan and Megan Barrett Burke. Santiago.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is application BA 13-25. Declan and Megan Barrett Burke. This is block 8403, lot 8, 8 Shepherd Place in the RA 15 zone for section Z. Applicant proposes an addition to the existing garage, creating a front yard setback of 38.1 feet on Old Turnpike Road where 50 feet is required.
Okay. Swear in the witnesses.
Excuse me,
Yes.
can you turn on that microphone? Thank you. Okay? Yes, it was the light, yeah,
There you go.
right
Light-
there.
It's good. Lights on. Okay. Would you both please stand, please, be sworn? Raise your right hand. So you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And for the record, would you each state your full names, please?
Megan Burke.
Thank you. It's all yours.
All right.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. So as you know, my name is Megan Burke, and I'm here with my husband Declan. We're the owners of 8 Shepherd Place, which is located in the Convent Station section of the township. We have lived there for 17 years now. We have 4 children between the ages of 8 and 14. And we're here tonight to respectfully request that the board grant us a front yard setback variance from Township Ordinance Section 9528 pursuant to NJSA 4055V70C. A little bit of background. Shepherd Place is located in the RA 15 zone, which means that it is subject to a 50-yard front yard.
50 foot.
50 foot, thank you, 50-foot front yard setback. Our house faces Shepherd Place, and got some more pictures from me there, but it's
There you are.
all right, so that's the existing front view of the residence from Shepherd Place. I would,
Just for the record, I'm going to I have the originals that you provided to us, so I'm going to mark that one as A1.
A1.
Okay, with today's date.
thank you, yes, and I did give Sonia a copy.
Yes,
of all
thank
of
you
it
for that.
as well.
Yes.
Okay, so using this as A1, that is the front elevation or the front view of the existing residence. I would wager a guess that many of you have driven past the house on your way to or from the train. We're not far from the convent station. However, the house does sit on the corner of Old Turnpike Road, which is a somewhat unique characteristic of it. If we go to the next exhibit, which I'd ask that you could mark
That'll be A2.
A2, you can see the side view of the residence from Old Turnpike Road. And just, if we could mark this A3 to further orient the board as to where we sit. It's 8 Shepherd Place, and you can see how it's situated at the corner of Old Turnpike and Shepherd, each of the elevations that we just saw. So, last year, so I'll come back to the aerial in a minute, but last year we enlisted the help of an architect to help us figure out how we could enhance our house to make it work a bit better for our growing family. They just keep getting bigger, the kids, and to help create a little bit more space. So our goal in the renovation was to update the existing kitchen, which dates back to 1963. And also see if we could add space for a pantry and a mudroom and a home office. So after much consideration, which was, we faced some structural challenges with the house and also, factoring in the economics of it, we decided that the best approach seemed to be to extend the garage towards, on the right side of the house, towards Old Turnpike. So I'm now going to ask if we could mark exhibit up on the
Yeah,
screen.
the plans are part of our package, so we don't
Okay.
have to mark
So
those. We have those.
So I just refer to A3 in the plan?
Yeah, whatever
Have that in
page.
your package?
Yeah, it's just go by page number.
Page number, so the page 3. Update.
So it's drawing number A3, right?
Drawing number 8.
Okay.
So we decided that would be the best way to proceed with the addition on the right side of the house, so a single-story addition. And from a zoning perspective, it seemed rather ideal too, since it's going to be on existing driveway. So there'll be actually no additional lot coverage created. So if I go back to what we marked as Exhibit 2, you can see where the driveway area is there, that is where the plans are, that if the variance is granted, that the extension will go on to right in that area, right in front of where the existing garage is. So we're simply pushing the garage out further onto the driveway portion. But because of the corner lot situation, as I've described, we are faced with a 50
50 foot.
50-foot setback requirement under the zoning ordinance on that side of the house. And so our planned expansion would force us to encroach into the 50-yard setback, a total of 11.9 feet. I don't know why I keep saying it the wrong way, yes, but it would force us to go into the 50-foot setback, 11.9 feet. And so we are asking permission to create a new setback of 38.1 feet where 50 feet is required.
So you're on the corner there, that's correct?
We are on the corner.
And across Old Turnpike is the train tracks, correct?
Across Old Turnpike is the train track.
So the
That is
only
correct.
person that could possibly be affected by this expansion is the person behind you.
That's right.
And you have screening there, there's bushes along that
All
property
of the
line?
screening that you'll see, if we go back to this exhibit, we have planted and carefully grown over the 17 years that we have lived there, and none of it will be touched with this
Okay.
extension. So in fact, would probably be further enhanced. Yes, and we have spoken to all of our neighbors, particularly the ones that are directly behind us, which is 50 Old Turnpike here. And I can't speak for them, but I can say that, of course, them not being here speaks volumes, and I could say they're very excited about the prospect. So.
Board members, any questions?
Yours is the house that has, you put a thing out in the road to slow people down, and a hockey goal.
We have hockey goals, lacrosse goals,
Okay.
yes, soccer goals.
I'm trying to set it in my mind.
Depends on the season. Yes, that's
I'm just
us.
trying to set it in my mind.
And we do, yes. I have please slow down children.
Yeah, that's the
Children
one.
play
Okay.
here. Yeah, we have
yeah.
a number of young children on the
I go by there on bike quite often.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure you do. And there's actually a plan afoot. The town is trying to put a crosswalk across Old Turnpike from the corner of Shepherd to help with people like you that are biking by. So we do feel like it's a unique property condition due to the corner, but yes, we don't feel it would further impact the neighborhood. In fact, we believe it'll enhance the existing neighborhood. Like I said, our plan is to make sure the one-story addition will match the the plan is to match the existing house. The siding will match, the roof will match, and that we will just continue to, with our trees that are there existing, and potentially add more as far as landscaping goes.
If I might, correct me if I'm wrong. The houses on your side of Old Turnpike, the 2 or 3 blocks, pretty much all face those interior streets. None of them actually front on Old Turnpike.
The only one so 50 Old Turnpike does front on Old Turnpike. That's the only one. That's the one directly behind us, which you can see up on the
Okay,
map here.
yeah.
And then as you go down to the bottom towards Punch Bowl, you may recall, I don't know, I think it was pre-COVID that they built the brownstones,
Yes.
and they actually don't have any setback.
Yeah.
So
Well before COVID, actually.
well before COVID, yeah.
Any other board members with questions? Not, open up the professionals. Any questions?
No question. I just noted that the neighbor to the rear, that is their side yard and their garage side, so they
Right.
have less need for recreational space that would be customary, patio, et cetera, that would be impacted by.
Any members of the public with any questions? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. Board members? Any discussion? To me, it's pretty much,
My comment
no,
about,
no impact on anybody else, actually benefit the neighborhood.
No
And I
impervious
think it's a good
coverage
addition.
change.
my question about, there's nobody actually, there's only one house actually facing Punch Bowl. I mean, that's why I think corner lots are supposed to have
Right,
two front lot setbacks. But these are it's really just a side yard road.
I know.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm making up my own word here, but
Yes, I understand that. So do I have a motion?
I move we approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Goldberg, second.
Moved by Mr.
Oh, wait a second.
Got to vote.
Finish the vote.
Mr. Who, Goldberg?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Mr. Goldberg.
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Schuster. Mr. Benoit.
Yes.
Mr. Kramer.
Yes.
Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
So moved.
So I'll have a resolution for you at the next meeting and get going. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good luck.
Much appreciated.
So I'm going to give you that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is the main application going to be the same?
Next application.
Next application is BA-15-25, Daniel Faulkner. Yep.
This is BA-15-25 Daniel Faulkner, Block 8101, Lot 10, 29 Bennington Road, in the RA15 zone for Section C. Applicant proposes construction of a one-story addition, creating a side yard setback of 14.86 feet where 20 feet is required, and a combined side yard setback of 30.63 feet where 50 feet is required. The applicant will also seek a variance for expansion of a non-conforming structure.
Okay. Mr. Oler?
Okay, yes, would you both please raise your right hands? You solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And for the record, you have both your names, please.
Michael Relton, I'm the architect.
Can you spell your last name, please?
RELTON.
And Daniel Faulkner.
Thank you. Have a seat. Thank you.
Do I need to give credentials?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
Yeah. So owner, architect, licensed architect, MR Architecture. I've developed the plans for this application. I've been admitted as an expert witness in front of this board back in 2022 for 8 Crestview Terrace Gerard application. Sit on the zoning board of adjustment for Chester Township as well.
The license is in good standing?
Yes.
Okay, we'll accept you as an architectural expert.
All right, so we'll start off briefly describing the proposed addition, which is a new one-story structure towards the rear of the residence. It's going to be, it's been designed to expand the kitchen and family room towards the rear of the house. It's going to replace an existing sunroom that's 140 square feet. So the net increase of the addition is only 244 square feet. If you look at from the plan point of view, the overall impact is 384 square feet of renewed, renovated space. The reason why we're proposing to take down the existing sunroom is because it was constructed on a slab-on grade, not necessarily conducive for a kitchen expansion, plumbing, things like that, insulation. So this will be a new addition in the back. It's going to maintain the existing left side setback. It's going to expand out only 2.8 feet into the rear yard.
From the existing sunroom.
Yes, from the existing sunroom. Yep. And then a majority of that addition is actually towards the inner half of the property in the back. We're keeping it at a one-story structure. The roof is designed almost identical to the roof that you see right now in the photos that were shared. So from an aesthetics point of view, there'd be almost very little change in aesthetics beyond the fact that it actually comes out about 2.8 feet beyond the existing sunroom. We're requesting relief for, obviously, expanding an existing non-conforming structure. The side yard setback for this addition is 14.86 feet. That's both existing and proposed. So again, there's no change to the left side setback. Required is 20. And then the side yard combined, existing proposed, not changing as well. It's at 30.63 feet. Required is 50. So again, really predominantly the issue here is we're short on both left side setback and combined setback, which is really what's forcing us to request this relief.
And that was there before you even thought about doing this extension?
Well before, yep, well before. Again, the massing of this addition is going to be identical, so there really won't be a detriment to the adjacent neighbor who would be impacted the most. Like I said, I talked about the net increase only being 244 square feet as well. So I think because of those things, we're hoping to get relief for this proposed project, and I'll turn it over to the homeowner just to explain a little bit about
Just as a matter of clarification,
Yeah,
the photos you submitted, it got the wrong names of streets on there.
Yeah, my apology that you brought that to my attention before the meeting. So it might be a carryover from a previous photo collage.
So going to the second page, it says view from residence from Belmar Place. And from the when you're facing the property, it's actually from the left rear of the property.
Correct. Yeah, that's inaccurate.
Okay. And the same for the second photo on that page. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
they were all taken up from Benton Road, essentially.
Okay, and then the other ones are from the front.
Yep.
Okay. So they're all, page 3 is also from the rear of the property, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Rear, and we tried to get some photos from the left side yard from the rear as well. There's an existing retaining wall and some trees and shrubbery, I believe, along the existing lot line as well. So it's all that will be retained. The goal is to keep that existing retaining wall. This addition is going to come up within a couple of feet of that, but we plan on not undermining that retaining wall, keep that as is, so no additional work associated with that, those existing conditions.
Okay. Great. Just 1 second. Board members, any questions of the architect?
No.
No? No questions? Any members of the public with questions of the architect? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. You may proceed.
All right, thank you. So I am the second owner of this house. We moved into this house almost 12 years ago and bought it from the original owner. And the reason why we're looking for this addition is 2 main reasons. One is expand the existing structure to be able to host holidays. My parents are getting older. My wife's parents are getting older. We live in the area. I have to wrestle Thanksgiving away from my mom, who doesn't want to give it away, and we're looking for a place to kind of continue that tradition. The second one is I spend a lot of time across the street at Ginty Field. I do a lot of coaching of youth sports. So my son's friends, I know the kids, they know me. We want to make our house the place where the kids feel comfortable hanging out and spending time at, because we know when they're in the house, they're not out doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. So we're looking to make an inviting house to make sure our kids want to be there, because in the grand scheme of things, he's turning 12. It's only about 6 more years until he's gone off to college. We have another 5-year-old coming up behind that. So those are the main reasons why we're looking to do something like this now.
Yeah, the house does not actually have a family room as is. It's got your prototypical walk-in left from the front door is your small formal living room, and then we have the little kind of sunroom den in the back that we're replacing. So this would essentially have a formal family room for the first floor. Yeah, informal, hopefully.
Yeah.
Board members, any questions? Any questions? Any comments? Any members of the public with questions? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. Board members, any discussion? Benoit?
Seems like a perfectly reasonable application, benefit the neighborhood, doesn't obstruct any other areas. I would vote in favor of this.
Any other board members?
No, I agree with Mr. Benoit, and I'll second that motion. That was a motion.
It wasn't a motion. You're making a motion, Mr. Benoit?
I'll make the motion.
Yeah. I was trying to push it.
You're seconding it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Santiago?
Mr. Colbert,
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Benoit,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
Yes.
Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, and I'll have a resolution for you at the next meeting.
Hey, Dan? Pete Army.
We're gonna do it this year.
Shouldn't be hard.
Go Army. I gotta defend.
Next application.
Motion to adjourn?
No.
You wish.
Wishful thinking.
No second?
I hear some crickets up here.
Come on up.
Yeah. Okay. Ready?
Mr. Brady, good evening. Okay.
Oh, next application.
Okay, next application is the Ewing application, which is number BA 17-23.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. David Brady of the firm of Brady and Coriel on behalf of the applicant. Last time we were here was way back in March. At that point, the board had heard several evenings of testimony and was close to voting, at which time I requested the board hold off on voting while we take one last look at this plan. And I appreciate that the board allowed us to do that. Since then, we've been trying to reschedule, and there's been various conflicts. But the plan was submitted back in the beginning of the summer. This plan changed the location of the new garage in the back of the property, which was focused most, but not all, most of the comments and concerns of the public, and I think frankly of the board. The new plan has kind of rejigged that rear portion of the property. The veranda that was out there has been shrunk a little bit and everything was slid over, so that garage is now compliant with the 20-foot setback on that side. So what we're left with now are three variances, all of which relate to the attached garage. First, we have a combined side yard variance. 50 feet is required, 33.22 feet is current, and 29.44 feet is proposed. Then we have a single side yard variance. 20 feet is required. Current setback is 17.78, and we propose to go to 14. That's an expansion of the attached garage to the left. The board may recall the testimony about the difficulty of that garage, which in terms of geometry and in terms of it having no interior connection to the house. And then we have a front yard setback variance, truly de minimis variance. The front one corner of the garage is 49.89 feet from the front yard, and 50 feet is required. The addition to the garage, to make the record complete, not only goes a little bit to the left by 3.78 feet, but we're also adding a second story. No variance is required to the height of that story, but because it is in the side yard, and I suppose that the minimus intrusion in the front yard, and we're going up with it, that does require a variance. The plans have been revised, but they speak for themselves. Given all the testimony we had, I don't intend to go back over either the architectural plans or the engineering plans. I do have Mr. Tobia here, who I propose to have briefly describe what variances are left, and then go through and reiterate a little bit for the board, since it's been some time since we've been here, the planning considerations that apply to those variances. So unless the board has any questions after my intro, I'd ask that we proceed to Mr. Tobia and his planning testimony.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
question, was there a TCC review on the revised plans?
No.
No, it was not.
Okay. And it appears that the elevations in the plans are missing the side yard elevations. Only has the front and rear. And should there have been a TCC review? I don't know.
Generally, with this board, we only have TCC meetings for use variances. We did have one on this application, however, because the applicant requested one
Okay.
But-
All right, thank you.
early on when they first filed.
All right, okay.
The last plan does not show the side elevation, because that side elevation doesn't change. The same.
As the previous one. Okay.
Shows the rear and the front of both of the carriage house, because that has.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
All right.
That's all I have.
All right, but let's get Mr. Toby sworn in.
I'll do it again because
Okay.
it's been, like, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And again, your name for the record, please.
Michael Tobia, Tobia, the applicant's planning consultant.
Thank you.
Toby, you've been accepted as a planning expert in this case. Is your license still current?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I thought we'd go through, Ms. Gerson had something to say, no?
Not right now.
Okay, sorry.
Maybe soon.
We'll go through the changes. Like Mr. Brady said, it's very simple. It's only a few minutes of testimony, I think. We did hear some resistance from the board back in March about what we called addition A. I'm going to circle that on the plan. These plans dated May 29th of this year, by the way, May 29th on the site plan. And a cover letter by Mr. Brady of June 5th. That's when all this went in. This addition, throughout much of the case, had required a side yard setback variance from the easterly property line, which you all are seeing on the left side of the screen. It was proposed at 14.25 feet for a long time, 20 feet being the requirement, 14.25 being the proposed condition. At the last hearing, we heard resistance about that massing and how close it would be to Ms. Seller's property on the east. So we decided to eliminate that variance in its entirety. That means the addition A, now being circled by my pointer, is now 20.1 feet from the sideline. Okay, the variance has been eliminated. Importantly, this entire module, which contained a garage on the ground floor, a bedroom on the second floor, and a basement, a walkout basement
down below is exactly the same as it's been for all the hearings. The entire module was simply shifted westward to get that extra 6 feet or so to eliminate the troublesome variance on the case. How'd that happen? Since the addition itself did not get any smaller, nor did the proposed dining room get any smaller, it was simply shifted westward, and the veranda on the westerly side of the property was made smaller. So we took all that space out of the veranda, which has been in a conforming location roughly since our second hearing, probably a year and a half ago now. We reduced that to make room for addition A. That eliminated the variance for the side yard setback. The only variances now remaining are one, the front yard setback, a de minimis condition off of Springbrook Road, which is 1.3 inches short of the required 50 feet. Not 1.3 feet, definitely not 1.3 yards, okay, 1.3 inches. But Mr. Oler pointed out a few meetings ago, because it's being expanded upward, technically it's a variance. We can't pick up and move that existing wall backward. That would be impractical and a hardship. We're asking for that variance to continue for the second floor going up, okay? Then you'll recall, if I can give you a little zoom here, we also had on our existing garage at the front of the house, a proposed bump out, 3 feet 9 inches, shown in boldface here, to modernize and widen the garage. Recall testimony a few meetings ago said the garage is kind of obsolete. It has 8-foot garage doors. They're only 6.5 feet high. Our architect, Mr. Dorn, said no one's building that anymore. He wants to widen it so we can have 9-foot doors, which is state of the art now, and 7 feet clear for each of the 2 garage doors. It will remain a 2-bay garage. So that variance is 14 feet off the sideline. This has not changed since the beginning of the case, with 20 feet requested. Note also, that's always been a nonconformity with the existing condition being just under 18 feet off the sideline. So it's a bump out of 3.9 feet. We continue to request that side yard setback variance. The RA15 zone, like a lot of residential zones in town, has a combined side yard requirement as well. In this zone, it's 50 feet. When you take our proposed condition on the east side, combine it with our existing condition on the west side, you add those two together, we're asking for a side yard setback variance when combined of 29.44 feet. Call it 30 feet with 50 the requirement. All those proofs have been put on the record for that addition in front. One is modernization of a garage. The garage is simply not usable now for any kind of larger SUV. It's not usable for any vehicle with any kind of height to it. The garage, as it's now built, has a center column down the middle, which makes it even more difficult to get in because you're pinched on the sides by walls and in the middle by a center column. The benefits of this are modernization of a garage, the current standards, as Mr. Dorn pointed out. We've also pointed out the combined side yard here right now doesn't comply with the 50-foot requirement. That house is 67 feet wide as it is. So the addition in the context of what's on the site now is a de minimis one. I'm going to circle for you this garage bump out. I measured it this afternoon. It's 78 square feet. Okay. The encroachment is 78 square feet. It's only 2% of the entire building footprint of the whole property. We call that a de minimis request for the variance, okay? It's really, really minor. Bearing in mind virtually the entire rest of the building envelope, the pool, the rear garage, and everything else proposed by this applicant is now compliant with the bulk requirements of RA15. Recall the pool is a permitted use, the house is a permitted use, the garage is a permitted use. Okay, so those are the variances. We are now with a case that's almost completely compliant with everything. We've rechecked building height. We've looked at height for the overall structure, as well as for the addition in the back, as well as for the addition in the front. Every single point of measure speaks to a compliant level of height. In fact, the addition up front, which still needs a variance, is only 23 feet high in a zone that permits 35. So we're short by 6 feet on our side yard setback, but we compensate by making that building much lower than what would be permitted in the zone. The overall building itself is 33 feet high. Even in the back, the addition, which is now fully compliant as to location, is only 30 feet high. Okay, so in every test of height across this property, we are below the permitted height. There is no control on number of stories in the RA15 zone, so we don't have to worry about counting stories. So that's pretty much the case. At the I think it was the last meeting I spoke at, or maybe it was 2 meetings ago, we put together a list of conditions, which I know I have here.
Can I just ask a question? With the moving in of the carriage/pool house, is there any change to the architectural plan, the landscape plan?
So, yes, thank you for that. Once we moved, Mr. Chairman, that proposed addition A in the 6 feet, we had more landscaping opportunities on the easterly side of the proposed addition. So 5 additional viburnum have been added there. Testimony by Mr. Huff on the viburnum plant material months ago said they will grow to about 12 feet high. That's true. That's how high they get in my yard. We've added a bed of pachysandra in that area also. And then every other plant on the whole site, which was testified to at length by Ms. DeHuff, is the same as it was on the old plan.
That revision was submitted with a revised landscape plan dated March 8th, 2024.
And then what we put together at the last meeting through testimony, and Mr. Brady's been helping me out with this, we had a bunch of conditions to protect the neighborhood and soften the impact of this development on neighbors. One was no overhead lighting on the pool. We agreed to that probably over a year ago. No floodlights. A railing on the staircase if it exceeds 30 inches. That's code requirement. Pool equipment will be housed within the basement. That's on the plans. Pool equipment was put inside the house to minimize noise. Won't be outside. We won't vent the pool equipment toward the neighbor. It probably means we'll vent it due south on the site. There will be no rental unit within the house. You all remember that basement level is for pool equipment, a sitting area, and a bathroom. And we'll stipulate to no separate apartment. There's a typo on the plan. Been there a long time, board members. On the west side of the existing office bump out, circled on the exhibit now, are 2 AC units that don't exist, just typo. Plan will be corrected to reflect that.
Actually, my notes indicate something about a proper signature line. So whatever the board needs in that regard, we'll do that too.
Right. And then I think we talked about this, the 18-inch Norway maple on the easterly property line. It's actually on our neighbor's property. We have extended testimony on that, saying we all wanted to save it. Mr. Ewing wants to save it as much as the neighbor does. We'll make every effort to do that. If somehow that tree fails within a 2-year window, we will replace it with a 6-inch caliper replacement tree. It's pretty big plant material. But we're going to make every effort to save that tree. We also said when Mr. Hanson was still here as assistant township engineer, if we had to alter our small retaining walls along the easterly property line, we would run that by the engineer to make sure it's okay with what we would do out in the field as a field change.
I think, as I recall during the last colloquy with the board, indicated that if the board had a concern over the survivability of that maple tree due to the proximity of the smaller wall, because there's a tiered wall section there, that we would be willing to go to a single wall to gain a little bit of distance. We would still have the 2-year guarantee, but if the board felt that maybe that would help the survivability, we could do that. That might trigger a variance because the terracing right now avoids that variance, but we'd follow the board's direction on that.
Do we know how high that would be?
Well, the lower wall I know is 3 feet, and I'm looking for the upper wall. How high total you would have? Well, the lower wall is 3 feet. Right now, the proposed upper wall is also 3 feet. So I assume that means you'd have a 6-foot single wall.
Okay. Joe, you concur?
So we're speaking to the 18-inch.
18-inch tree on the neighbor's property, yes, on lot 55.
Right. Can you put your
Microphone on, please.
Sorry, yeah. Got it.
So if you like to leave it flexible to
I was just trying to figure out what,
variance that you
not to exceed what height,
not
right?
to exceed the 6.
Right. Right.
And how far along that wall would it be, 6 feet? And what other, before it bends back into the 3+3? You know what I mean?
Well, I think the wall design would then modify because you're using the tiered walls to make up the 6 feet for what I'll call both L's of the wall, right? So to that westerly, to that easterly side as well as to the south of the L.
It would seem to be,
Oh, you wouldn't need the whole thing.
No. The wall's interesting.
Yeah, essentially as they then intersect, we would then transition down to the single wall.
Right, okay. And the extent of the 6-foot wall will depend on the field conditions.
Correct. Or the necessity of it to remain 6 feet at the driveway, on the southern edge of the driveway, instead of tearing back down into the single wall. Tier it. Right.
Yeah. Tear as much as possible.
Right, so essentially we'll be looking at removing the tier nearest for the protection of the tree and then tiering up the north and south ends.
Right. Right.
Get that?
Did you have an opportunity to review the landscape report from the expert hired by Mr. and Mrs. Nugent? I was just wondering if we're talking about landscape.
Sonia sent it on to me, yes, Mr. Chairman. It dealt with the Nugent side of the property.
Right.
Nothing that's proposed here changes on the Nugent side from what was proposed previously. So that's all been vetted, questioned, comments made, and a report is not, testimony is not admissible.
No, I don't know if that expert's here or not.
No, well, our position would be on that. That portion of the plan has not changed. There's been full vetting of that and airing of all the issues, and we would object to any additional report or testimony.
All right. Board members, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, on that point, we did discuss the plantings on that side of the property before, right? That's all been done and all, right, okay. It's
Yes.
not, they're sort of going back to the issue. It's not like a
Right,
new
that's
issue.
my point, is that
Right.
we've gone through that issue thoroughly previously, and there's been no change that would require additional questioning or testimony.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I just had a question.
Sure.
On the, you referenced the pool equipment being in the basement of the pool house. I don't recall a lot of applications where we hear where that equipment is going to be interior, where there's actually, I guess, a bedroom also in the pool house. Is that correct? Is there living space in the pool house?
No bedroom.
There's no, not on that level, but inside the structure,
2 floors up. there's-
2 floors up. Is there any, and you mentioned something about venting. Is there anything especially required for safety purposes because you have pool equipment inside a house or where there's living
I
quarters?
think that Mr. Dorn said the venting was needed because it's going to be inside the house. Okay. And that will all, of course, be checked by the building department. We don't do that part of the job.
And then you had referenced something about the venting to go away from the neighbor's house. Is that,
was noise related, so like I said, it's probably going southbound
okay,
directly to the back of the property.
all right, thank you.
Okay. Any other board members with questions?
Yeah. So you did mention that you would replant up to 2 years if something happened on the east side. What about the west side?
Well, there was a condition that the landscaping plan itself would be maintained in perpetuity. The 2 years was just with respect to that Norway maple,
Norway maple.
the Norway maple,
On the neighbor's property.
on the
On the
neighbor's
neighbor's
property.
Right.
So that's a question. So if that were to die inside of 2 years, and you're saying you'll plant a
And the issue
6-inch
there,
caliber tree,
Mr. Kramer, I think was because that retaining wall was within a few feet or maybe a few inches. Hard to tell exactly where the trunk is and the roots are and the property line is.
Understand.
We don't have that on the other side. We have a retaining wall.
but if you were to replace that, let's say that tree died, you're going to replace it with a 6-inch tree on the applicant's property?
On the applicant's property.
They
Any
wouldn't
other,
have, right, they wouldn't have the right to go on someone else's
I
property.
agree. I
Okay,
understand.
yeah,
any other board
In-
member?
In the approximate location it is now, I assume
right.
somebody wanted to move it a little further away from the property line.
Any other board members with questions? Council, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Your
Mr.
appearance.
Chairman, for the record, John Urson Schenk Price, representing Maggie Sellers, the neighbor. I'm as aware as all you folks are that this is our 7th hearing, so I'm going to try not to belabor certain points. But I'm a little surprised at how quickly the applicant moved through the testimony tonight. And I was going to stand up and object, but again, I want to move it along. But the planner just testified as to measurements of building height. And really, your engineer is here, and this issue needs to be addressed once and for all. The planner should not be allowed to testify with respect to this property being in conformance with building heights. He's not an engineer. Your planner.
So, Mr. Urson, that's a fair point, right? And I mean, one expert can rely on another expert's report, and he's saying what's on the plan, but I think deferring that to the board engineer is appropriate.
That's
and-
all I
and
was
we can
gonna
have
ask.
him do
Yep.
that, yes.
Yep.
Joe, yeah, right now, as good as any.
No problem. So the,
And for the record, as Mr. Aller indicated, Mr. Tovia was simply taking the information off of Ms. Muller's engineering.
That's what's on the plan.
Yeah, but he did say that it was measured each and every way, and he was emphasizing the points. He's a good witness. I just want the engineer to
Understood, but
testify to
it's a
engineering
fair
stuff.
question, and I think the board engineer can respond to that.
So I'll refer the board to drawing 2 lot development plan. Last revised 5/29/25 from Mueller Engineering. In the top right, we have a building height detail that also includes calculations below it, as well as in the zoning table. We have both a max building height from average grade within 20 feet,
And then below that, max building height from lowest grade at building. So our zone has a required 35-foot height, which is calculated by our building height definition from average grade within 20 feet. That average grade is calculated on the plan. In the first calculation you see to the right side, average final grade, 21 average grades taken within the distance of the 20 feet from the radius of the structure, summarizing out to an elevation of 91.79. Then that proposed building height calculation is taken from the highest ridge of the structure, that portion of the structure being the two-story dwelling at 25.16, and their resultant calculation at 33.4 feet below the 35-foot requirement. We also have a secondary calculation in our code defined for consideration of topographic change in the property, and that being the max building height from the lowest grade at the building. That accounts for the 35-foot, what most may call like the architectural height of a building, to include up to 33% increase in total height to take from the lowest grade at the building. That lowest grade being calculated at 84.7 feet, and that being then directly up the building to the 125.16, same ridge height elevation. So that calculation came out to 40.5 feet. The requirement in that calculation being 46.67 feet.
As a maximum.
As a maximum, right. So within greater than a foot of separation from the 35-foot, and then a few feet from the 46 feet.
Okay.
Thank you. I have a few questions for Mr. Tobia. Mr. Tobia, you spent time talking about the changes that have been made to the plan and trying to describe to the board that the side yard encroachment being intensified was de minimis. But do you have for the expansion of the garage, 3.78 feet, almost 4 feet closer to my client's property line, do you have a planning justification for why the board should bend its own rules in order to justify an additional 3.78 feet of the garage space coming closer to my client's property?
So, yes, and I just went through those. One, to modernize and expand the garage, as I told you. The other thing I didn't mention, Mr. Urson, is what we did with landscaping along that property line was plant material, proposed to plant material that'll be 25 feet high at maturity, green giant arbs, which will be higher than that proposed building addition. But the basic testimony was it's time to modernize the garage, time to widen it, time to get proper doors in there, time to get modern vehicles into the garage, recognizing when this garage was built, board members, cars were mostly a lot smaller, and to recognize also the footprint of that proposed addition is 78 square feet, microscopic amount of that overall building footprint.
Not if you live next door. So your testimony is based on your testimony. You've said that word now a number of times, modernizing. The current layout of the house has how many car garage?
If you count those as bays, there are 2 garage bays there.
Okay. And in the plan that you've submitted, you're going to accommodate how many cars in a garage?
There'll be 2 in the front, and in the back there will be 1 bay with a large depth to it that will allow 2 medium-sized cars to stack park.
Okay. So your new plan has a 4-car garage, has 4 cars able to be put in garages, but that you're still not satisfied with that. You want to make 2 of the garages larger to accommodate what you call modernization. And that's the justification for going 4 more feet towards my client's property.
That's the justification.
Okay. And when you testified, one of the key things that you testified to when we had a back and forth is you testified that when there's a yard encroachment, the higher the encroachment, the more the intensity. We talked about it a couple of times, I'm sure you remember. So what I found interesting is in the recap that you gave to the board, you didn't give any justification for why you needed to now build a 2nd story above the garage that already encroaches into my client's property. So I thought I'd give you the chance now to tell the board what the rationale is for adding a floor which adds intensity by your own testimony and moving all of it 4 feet closer to my client's property.
So this goes back to, a long time ago, as you know, the design challenge here for our architect was a 4-bedroom home. That 4th bedroom, through architectural design, and a lot of it was decided to be over that existing garage. As pointed out further, the roof over that existing garage is antiquated and poorly sloped. Mr. Dorn, when he spoke, said by going up and doing a properly pitched roof, it would be more consistent with his architectural plan. That's where it was planned by architectural design. And it was in a space, Mr. Urson, where the vast majority of that bedroom is within the compliant footprint. Meaning, if I may, the bedroom also only encroaches by that 3'9" bump out.
Yeah, you just tripped up there. It's not within the compliant. The compliant would be 20 feet, right? Okay, so it's.
Go ahead.
You said the majority of the bedroom was within the compliant setback, which is not the case. You would have to go how many feet back to be within the compliant setback for the 2nd story bedroom?
6 feet.
Okay. And so do you have control? Could you put the 2nd story plan up?
2nd story, the architectural plan?
Yeah, I think it's just the next page after this.
Okay, so this 2nd plan.
It's right here.
See it? So this is the architectural plan up now, dated March 25th. Is that what you want, Mr. Urson?
Yes, thank you. So it was interesting because I asked you what the planning justification was for the 2nd story bedroom, and you talked about the architectural plans and you talk about the pitched roof. Obviously, the pitched roof can be changed anytime. You don't need to add a bedroom to fix the roof. But then in your testimony.
Sorry about that. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay.
Then in your testimony, you focused us on a certain point, and that is that the 2nd story bedroom encroaches 6 feet into what would be the permitted setback, right? And you still offered no planning testimony for why we should allow that bedroom. And I thought it was interesting. How many closets are in that bedroom? The answer is 4.
You're asking me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so walk-in closet to the right of the bedroom. I think everybody can see my pointer. And then
1.
3 small man doors. Yes, 3 in the bedroom and then 1 around in the hallway.
Okay.
Right.
So if you just eliminated the walk-in closet, you could actually move the bedroom back into the compliant setback. And do you have a planning justification for why you need 4 closets in that bedroom?
Remember, and this is architectural testimony.
I'm just asking for planning testimony.
The testimony was to deliver modernized bedrooms in this house, en suite, which meant closet plus bathroom for each bedroom. Criticism of the old house, the existing house, was it didn't have these things. I guess there are bathrooms down the hall. And so this is really architectural testimony. What I would point out to Mr. Urson, though, if you look at this plan, this bedroom now is 15 feet east to west. There's a bed illustrated in it, nightstands, that's typical architectural floor plan. If we chopped off that 6-foot dimension to just go with a fully compliant side yard setback, we'd end up with a 9-foot wide bedroom, which would never be built by.
No, you could eliminate the walk-in closet and just move the whole thing 6 feet back to be compliant with the side yard setback. But the architect did testify that these were necessary in the same way that he testified that the office was necessary and that the back addition could never be moved and all the other things we heard. But still, no planning testimony for why we would need 4 closets to encroach with more intensity into the side yard setback.
All I can tell you is this is the architectural plan. If we move this, if we eliminated the walk-in, we shifted everything to the right, you're going to have a garage on the first floor, a step back in 6 feet, and then the new wall of the bedroom. Not an architect, Mr. Urson, but that's usually not the way this is done, meaning that jog back in. Okay. But I appreciate the question.
Yeah, no problem. But it would, I guess you and I are going to play architect for a minute. It would get the windows of the bedroom 6 feet farther away from my client's property line.
Correct? And remember, one way or the other, okay? I respect your questioning. One way or the other, you're going to see this house and that addition if it's approved and built. Okay? 6 feet will achieve technical compliance. Anyone standing in the field on that property line is still going to see that bedroom upstairs. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public with questions?
Hi, Leanne Nugent, 38 Springbrook Road. I object to the statement that everything, all the landscape was vetted, is what you said, on the border of our property. One of the questions that a few of the questions that I posed in prior meetings was what was going to happen to the landscaping on that side. There's no retaining wall, but everything that is being removed and replanted will disturb our existing trees. And that's why then we hired Mr. Linson to go and do a report. One thing that I would like to point out.
This is questions right now.
Okay, so I questioned about the removal of trees in the back corner of the property on February 24th. How do I pose it as a question?
You'll have an opportunity to make statements.
Okay, then I'll go into another topic then. I have a question about the zoning in our township about number of stories. Is it true that there is no zoning ordinance on the number of stories, which is what was said before? Because I was told otherwise when we wanted to work on our property. I wasn't changing a roof line, I wasn't changing heights. I was told we could not change our attic and put a dormer out and making a living space because we have a walkout basement. So now I hear that there is no zoning ordinance on number of stories.
So that's true. In this zone, in all the single-family zones in Morris Township, height is controlled only by number of feet. 35 feet's the control. You heard there's a secondary control, but 35 feet is what's measured. Basically, it means you can do whatever you want within the 35 feet. There are other zones in town that do regulate by number of stories. but not the resident, not the single-family residential.
Those are multifamily
But-
zones.
And Joe, you concur with that too?
This was 7 years ago. We were told unless you were
I
grandfathered.
can't say what you were told, but I
So
can tell
there
you,
is nothing?
as it applies to this application,
It's
there's
being-
no story limitation in residential zones. So I don't know if you were told the number of stories or the ultimate height or what they were looking at, but
We
there's
weren't
no
changing height. It
limitation
was
on
just, we
stories.
were told you could not have another living space if it were over 3 stories. This is a 3.5-story home. And
So
from bottom to top.
I can't speak to the recommendations or any guidance that was given you at that time.
Mhm.
I am now the township engineer. I'm now also in charge of the zoning and the interpretations that come out of my office for zoning. If you have a formal review denial or some paperwork that expresses those positions previously, I'm happy to revisit those for your property. But as it relates to this zone that's common to you and your neighbor, as well as all the other residential zones, the height is only regulated by feet and not by story.
Okay. Okay, then we were just mistold. But then going back to landscaping, I do have the question of the trees in the back right corner, not all the way in the corner, but where there is a hedge, we have 2 trees. One is over 30 feet tall on Mr. Ewing's property that gives a lot of screening. And I'll put it in a question again, are they going to be removed? That's where the hedge is on the plan.
Mr. Chairman, as I said, we've gone through this back in February. That side is not changing since then. That was
Yes.
The landscape-
thoroughly questioned.
The landscape plan is not being questioned. I was reviewed at that time.
At that time, exactly.
Well, but why don't we just answer the question? There's no indication on the plan that there's any tree being removed on the right side of Mr. Ewing's property, right?
They just covered it up with new hedges.
Well, that.
They
that
don't
side,
show the
if I
removal.
may, there's a new planting plan along that side, which was put in because of concerns over your privacy. There are green giant arborvitae that were proposed there. Testimony was they're planted at 15 feet. They grow to 25. That's factually true. Down near the pool, there's a triple hedge with boxwoods and hydrangea and I can't read my notes here, more arborvitae, which will be maintained at 6 feet high.
Maintained at 6 feet in replacement of the 30-foot tree.
Well,
So
That's where the 30-foot tree is.
Well, I'll tell you, yes, I'll
Yeah.
tell you exactly what I said on Ms. Seller's side of the property. My client, the applicant, wants to preserve trees alongside that property line as much as you do. He wants his privacy as much as you do. What's proposed here, we haven't talked about it in a long time, but the pool is a conforming setback, the veranda is a conforming setback, and if you recall up in the front, he removed that office addition that was going to replace the office bump out that's in the front of the building now. This side of the property is a fully compliant side yard setback now. Mr. Ewing wants to do just what you want to do. When construction starts, if you want, we can go out, we get town engineer to come out with us, mark things, flag things, try and be as cautious as we can to protect things. This applicant is not going on your property and chopping down trees.
This applicant has gone on my property and chopped my trees. So what am I supposed to trust? Because it has happened and I have photos of it.
Well,
So
if that's the case, then I suggest that you consult with somebody about. what
I
we do.
tried, I got no response from, so there are guarantees are being made for the red maple. And that's why we have now an expert, because we wanted our testimony to be heard about our cherry trees, which are old established cherry trees. And with the disturbance of the plantings, new plantings going in on the root system of our cherry trees that are almost on the property borders, they're at danger.
Again, Mr. Chairman, we're retreading ground we should have gone over earlier, and we did go over earlier, but the difference between the Norway maple on the left is that Norway maple, as I said, was within a few feet of a retaining wall that was going to require a footing, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the case at all on Miss Nugent's side of the property. The trees are further back, and the only thing going on that side is putting in of a fence and of landscaping on our side of the property line.
True.
And removal of large trees with root systems that are established.
If we were to remove trees on our side, first of all, we're entitled to remove trees. We have a tree removal ordinance in the town, the township will have to comply with. But again, this is not akin to that Norway maple where there would be a digging of a foundation within a few feet of the trunk of the tree. That's not happening on the Nugent side.
I'm revisiting it because in that testimony, the response when I asked about the 30-foot tree was that it is not being removed. And you can go back at the 2-hour, 33-minute mark and revisit that yourself. So that's why I'm revetting it.
Yes.
If I may. The 30-foot, you're saying 30-foot high tree, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned it was in the southerly portion of the yard. Is that one or
It's actually
both?
two trees
So
next to each other.
it's the two, what are shown on the survey as 8-inch directly to the west of the proposed pool?
Yes,
What
directly
we-
west
What we
of
see,
the,
what we see at the top of the plan here,
Let me start quickly, Ms. Nugent. That's a 12-incher right
Yeah.
there.
so a little further north.
it's the, well, these are my cherry trees.
Right. And this one's the 8-incher right there.
But it's the privacy that is gained also
We're-
by the,
Yeah, we're speaking of the two 8-inch that are on the subject property, not on your property.
which is that.
Okay, a little further north, right? Okay, or sorry, south. So directly across from the word north, directly page left of the words north and
Yes,
north.
those.
Right, so those,
I'm questioning that because you said last time they were not being removed.
So-
I relooked the plan.
so they're not proposed to be removed on the plan, but there is the potential for conflict with the landscape plan that shows replacement plantings in that scheduled area. So if the board is going to consider the option discussed earlier of kind of field coordinating that removal if necessary, or changing the planting, we should make it specific to those noted 2 8-inch caliber trees and the landscaping that's proposed overlapping that area. That being most notably these, it's in the middle species here. The boxwoods, the arborvitaes,
Square.
that square rectangle of proposed in the landscape
We
plan.
have no objection to meeting with the township representative, and Ms. Nugent, and see, can that be revised? So I do have to point out, though, Ms. Nugent's now saying to give her privacy and buffering, we need to keep trees on our property. When we're totally compliant in that area, we're not seeking a variance. Normally, my response would be, she wants privacy, trees can be added on her side. But as Mr. Toby said, we're going to be landscaping down in there. We've done, I think, a fabulous landscape plan here. We can modify it, keep the intensity of landscaping, and also keep those trees. We don't have any.
We are a much higher elevation, so we look down. So a 6-foot buffer does not, to replace a 30-foot tree, does nothing. for us,
But
is my
normally, there's no
point.
requirement for
Can I-
a
can I-
buffer between two residential uses.
Right.
You have no right to require that I not see someone
understand
else's
it.
use of their property for how it's
Can
intended,
I
namely as a
can I ask the
residential
question? The fence that's along there,
fence.
right, there's a fence there now, right?
Existing
That's
fence,
our
yes.
current, that's ours.
Yeah. So their landscape plan can't even come up to your fence. It's gonna follow the
Their
survey
proposed,
line.
it's going to follow their proposed fence, which is just, would traditionally, we have staked out from our department, will require be staked out a foot inside your property
Right,
to ensure that there is some form of gap between the two properties for boundary dispute.
okay.
So the proposed landscape plan utilizes that, what appears to be about a foot offset internally of the site plan fence line to then establish the side yard for the planting.
And how far is your tree from the existing fence?
Our cherry trees,
Yes,
They're less than 5 feet.
so,
From on center,
right,
of the tree, they're less than 5, about 3 feet at the southerly. And it's pretty much about 3 feet for each because that fence line is deviating into the property line.
right. So how far are they from the applicant's property line?
On center, 5 to 6 feet to south, 12-inch. The same on the 8-inch in the middle, and then the northerly 12-inch is closer to 7 feet. And then there's there's also a northerly 26-inch that's more immediate to the property line,
Right,
common to the property line, really.
really,
The
yeah,
fence does not go up to the 26-inch tree though.
right,
It just goes along the property line, and again, it's not digging for footing for a retaining wall, simply fence posts in the ground.
Yeah, the nearest disturbance to the 26-inch on center to the trunk is about 18 feet to the corner of that proposed fence.
right,
That 26 is off-site and obviously not proposed to be removed. The 12, the 8, and the 12 that I just mentioned are off-site.
okay,
The 8 and 8 would be the ones that were subject of the conversation for field coordination. And then there is a 6-inch in the far south corner that is scheduled to remain and is called out on both, is shown on both plans, the site
Right.
plan and the landscaping plan to remain in the landscaping.
Ms. Nugent, any other questions?
that's it, thank you.
So I just want to clarify, the 2 8-inch trees that are on that southwest line on the
Yes.
applicant side, are they intended to stay? Because it seems to conflict with the
It
landscape
conflicts,
plan.
as Mr. Voigt said, it conflicts with it would seem to conflict with the landscaping plan, where it adds a rectangular combination of plantings. It would seem to be in the middle of that. The idea, though, of going out and looking at what's there and what's proposed, modifying what's proposed a little bit to maybe maintain what's there,
So if
it makes sense
if you're reading the landscape plan, you can see actually there are 2 8-inch callouts in the plan. And what if I'm going from the north to the south to the rear, the 3rd tree block, and then 3 more back as well, the 6th of the 8. So those are essentially in the 3rd and 6th of 8 are essentially in the existing locations. So there is an opportunity to work with that planting area and preserve those 2 trees while supplementing the difference around them.
So
Right.
translation, the plant material will be field located. That's what happens on a lot of these jobs, and we'll save those trees, move things around accordingly.
So you'll save those trees.
Right, and you'll just conform the site plan to the landscape plan. Right,
Yeah, with the exception of that field coordination.
Right.
In a specific condition.
Okay, any other members of the public with questions?
Joan Ferrari, 6 Spring Hill Lane in the Springbrook area. I'm confused. What I've got on the agenda says a building height of 40.5 feet, where 35 feet is required. Does that mean the actual, if you measure the height of the building, or does that mean that you take into account the grade as well?
So there are 2 height controls in the RA 15 zone.
Yeah.
The one you're talking about says at any single point around the whole entire house, nothing can be higher than 46 feet. So we had to find out where the single tallest spot was on the proposal, and that's at the back corner of addition A. I'm circling it now on the monitor. And that is where it was measured at 40.7 feet, I believe, Sheridan. That's the highest point on the whole thing. And then when you go around the house, many other spots, it's much lower than that.
But that's disregarding the grade.
No, that is dependent on the grade of that
Dependent.
spot, which has a spot elevation of 84.7 feet.
Okay. So how much interior space do you have? Is it based on this addition? Is it based on 40 feet of height of an entire building? Or what is it based on?
It's based on the height of the building to the peak of the roof.
Mhm.
And that number is on the plans, we calculate that. And then you go all the way down to the lowest point of the grade around that proposed addition, which has an elevation of 84.7 feet. Subtract one from the other, and that's how you come up with the 40 feet dimension.
And so then what's the total square footage of this addition, this building?
Of the whole
Of the new addition, of the pool house, if you will.
Mr. Dorn testified as to that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we. No, hold on, I'll get it for you, So it's 18 feet wide, it's 32 feet north to south, and I had 18 by 32. You see some of those. And so that would be on the top floor, the living area, say it again, 576 square feet.
So, and how many floors are planned for this?
That addition A has 2 floors. One's the garage, top floor is the bedroom, and then there's a basement level underneath it, which we described earlier.
Then the basement level is the pool house level.
Yeah.
And that's
we
ground,
call this pool.
that's ground level?
That's ground level.
Okay, so that's not counted as a floor.
That's correct.
So in reality, you're telling us that there are 3 floors planned within all of this, and each floor is 500 some square feet?
In that limited area, that is correct. Yes.
And how does that all add up to the number of total square feet?
Again, for that addition,
Mhm.
is that what you're saying?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm only concerned with that addition.
So that is, if I do my math quickly, 1,718 square feet. 576 times 3.
My concern is, I had asked before what the definition of a residence was, and the answer that I got was reasonable, but it also, everything planned in this pool house addition would make it a residence. It would comply with that. So my concern is, as a resident of Springbrook, that boils down, the way I look at it, as 2 residences on one lot. And that has been denied other developers and builders. And I wouldn't want two residences on my lot or next door. So that's the reason I'm asking all these questions.
I appreciate that. We have agreed with the board to restrict this to single-family usage only. That's not an apartment down there. There's no kitchen down there. It's just the lower level of the house, the basement, like I have in my house and most people do in their homes as well. So if this gets approved, there's going to be a condition that says you can't have a separate dwelling unit.
And in fact, we've agreed that, I think we've agreed, Mr. Aller didn't make it clear, that we would put that in a deed restriction. So anybody buying the property can't say, oh, I didn't know, I didn't understand.
Because previously, y'all had said that there would be a kitchen in this structure, and which made it, that was part of the, whether it would comply to requirements for a residence. So, but you've eliminated that? There are no kitchen facilities whatsoever?
Hold on, we're going to double check for you, okay? So in this area, we're calling the pool house, I'm calling it the basement, okay? A hall, a mechanical room, a bathroom, a sitting area, and what I call a kitchenette. Single wall with a sink, a refrigerator along the easterly side of the.
That's what you get when you get an apartment with a galley kitchen.
Back in the day for me, my first place, you're correct.
Well, it still is. So you go to senior living somewhere, same thing. Okay. I'm still not happy. Thank you anyway.
Any other members of the public with questions? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. Any other witnesses at this time, Mr. Brady?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Counsel, you wish to call any witnesses?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to call two witnesses and I'm going to be brief. Could I have them come to the podium here and testify?
Sure.
Mr. Linson, do you want to come up?
Would you, wait, before you do that, John, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name, please?
John Linson, Linson.
Thank you.
Your address, please?
My address?
Yes, please.
Which one? I got three of them. I work out of a post office box in West Orange. And a physical address, 52 Ricker Road in Kennelon. That's probably the one you want. You swore me in before. This is the second time I got sworn.
Right, so you're testifying as an expert, right?
I do.
And previously testified as?
I'm a New Jersey licensed tree expert, number 198.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to object to Mr. Linson. He was here last time. He gave testimony in favor of the Nugents about trees. The plan in that area, as I've said, has not changed. We've gone through this already. To reopen it for that is unwarranted, given that we're compliant on that side.
The Linson side.
The variance
There's
is
some things
proceeding on the other side.
have come out since then.
Still, I'm gonna let him testify. Says he's gonna be brief.
Right, because just for the record, we have a plan that's updated June 2nd, 2025, which we've just heard testimony about for the first time. And he's going to have some comments on it.
But the update,
Understand?
not on this side.
That's understandable.
Sounds like good cross.
I made the objection for the record. So
Yes, understood.
Mr. Tobia, do you still have control Could you just go up an inch maybe?
That way?
Oh, yeah, it's good, thank you. Mr. Linson, I'm going to ask you questions about the seller side.
Yes.
Okay, and if you're going to get asked questions about another side, somebody will ask you those questions or you'll give that testimony.
Okay.
But you previously testified with respect to your concerns about the trees that form the buffer between the seller's property and the applicant's property.
Yes, I do.
And we're not going to go through all that testimony again because the board heard it. I'm sure the board remembers it. But generally, you're concerned that the work that's going to be done right on the property line at depth is going to damage the trees.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to focus you on two things that are pertinent to what we're talking about tonight. And very specifically, you understand the testimony that the attached garage, which is addition B, is the applicant is proposing to move that 3.78 feet closer to the seller's property.
Yes.
Okay. And with that comes the driveway moving over, and with that comes the wall on the property line. You understand that?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion with respect to whether the driveway being moved over 3.78 feet and the wall being moved over 3.78 feet would have any positive or negative impact on the damage that you're predicting will come to the seller's trees?
That particular tree provides shade to Ms. Seller's sunroom. So it's a very important tree, but by changing the grade, and particularly, the foundation of the wall, it's probably a dry laid wall, but it's still, older trees are like people. They don't like change. And to take a tree like that that's probably 50, 60 years old and dump 3 foot of fill on the root system of the tree, it's not going to be happy. And it's in addition to that, subsequent to the last meeting, Ms. Sellers resurveyed the property, and a number of the trees that we thought were on the adjacent property, number 40, are actually on her property. So that does change my my testimony from the last time.
Okay. And so do you want to tell the board what the change is?
Well, the biggest change is where the stormwater collection system is, which is
It's off the
up in here. There's a tree that's right on the edge of the property line, and in order to install that stormwater system, you would be cutting roughly 50% of the roots of that tree, which generally, when you cut roots on one side of the tree, the remaining roots in a storm situation acts as a hinge. So the tree in a storm situation is most likely to fall into Ms. Sellers' property if it doesn't die from the loss of 50% of its root system. Also, along the driveway here, there's a number of Japanese maples that are really quite, they have an incredible value in the landscape. A lot of those branches would have to be removed just to have the wall and passage on the driveway, as well as the effect of fill on the wall on their root system.
And in that area that you were just pointing to, right next to the attached garage, would it make a difference in the trees' survivability and damage to the trees, whether that wall was on the property line with the driveway or whether it was moved over 4 feet? Would it make a difference?
It would make a difference. There's a number of ways to design a system around an existing tree root system. It's a conflict for me to tell you what they are, but I've buried trees before and they're still living 10, 15 years later. But it's right on the property line, that close to the trunk of the tree. I don't really have much hope for that tree's survival.
And did you do any analysis of how many trees might be damaged or die, or what the value might be?
Yes, I did. I used the Council of Tree Appraisers has a booklet where you take the diameter of a tree and you index it to what the cost of a replacement tree of that species is, and you get a cost per square inch, and then you expand that, and then you deduct for the condition of the tree and location of the tree. And I did that for all of Ms. Sellers' trees. The value that I came up with, I think that's what we're looking for. The value of those 6 trees is $107,155 using this formula, which, hey, if IRS accepts it as a evaluation tool, I think this board can too.
And is it your testimony that those 6 trees would be damaged in the process of building what's proposed?
They certainly would be damaged. Some of them would be lost, but they would be compromised, and the screening between the properties would be compromised. Do you want me to speak about the screening between the property line that they're proposing?
Sure.
They have emerald green arborvitae going in here. This is for someone who has planted tens of thousands of trees between a sidewalk and a curb in a restricted root area. I can tell you that there really isn't enough soil mass in there to support these trees. And in addition, emerald green arborvitae is a favored food of white-tailed deer. So if you build it, they will come, but they're already there. So why would you plant something that the deer like? Why plant deer candy when, you know? So I'm very skeptical about this plant material surviving at all between the driveway and the wall.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any further questions of Mr. Linson. I'm not sure whether anybody else does. I don't know how you want to handle that.
Council would go first, then any members of the public.
Mr. Linson, which trees in the area of the storm drainage structures you indicated they're going to be?
Well, you have emerald green arborvitae, deer candy.
No, I'm asking, you said that.
Oh, the existing trees?
Storm infiltration devices at the rear of the property were going to result in certain trees being affected.
I have.
Are those trees shown on the plan?
Well, there's, actually it is, and it's shown to be on 40's property, but it's really on 42's property.
I'm going to object to that testimony, Mr.
I'm not a surveyor,
It's not
but
a
this is
surveyor.
how it's
We
been
don't have a
reported to
survey show
me.
that. The only survey that we have is the one that shows that those trees are in fact on Mr. Ewing's property and they're slated to be removed.
Well, the 25-inch tree, is that?
28.
28, that's shown on both. A portion of it goes on to the seller's property.
The overwhelming majority of that tree trunk, the center of that tree trunk is on the Ewing property.
Right, I understand
And
that.
gives Mr. Ewing control over that.
I'll-
Much. If it was split, I would agree with you that maybe there's a problem or an issue. That tiny little edge, I think that's Mr. Ewing's tree. It's not Miss Sellers' tree.
Well, I can't decide that. I don't have that authority to say whose tree that is. Unless council
Actually, I think there is a case, and maybe Mr. Brady knows the name, but I don't recall, but I believe that that tree is substantially on the portion of the applicant's property. It's the applicant's tree.
That's my belief.
Yeah.
In fact, if it was 10 years ago, it might be totally on the property, and it would be. The center of the tree is on the property, the overwhelming majority of the trunk of the tree is
I
on
do
the
think
property.
that's the rule.
That makes it Mr. Ewing's tree. The 24 inch is Mr. Ewing's tree also. Ms. Valencia, you said that the 18-inch Norway is an old tree and may not be packed.
The Norway maple?
Yes. Right?
Well,
That's what you said.
Yeah, it's,
Okay. Would it be happier if there was 2 walls, lower one and the upper one, or if there was 1 wall, which would be further away?
we're talking about the maple tree, but opposite the existing garage?
We're talking
Or the,
about
or the one
maple tree.
by the storm drain?
There's a maple tree shown on the plan that's 18 inches. You see that? It's where, you want me to point it out?
Is it,
Thank you, Mr. Urso.
it's that one?
Now,
It really would be happier if there wasn't a wall at all.
well, I understand that. But if there was a choice to be made by the board, because we more or less left it up to the board, between 2-wall system that you see there, a lower and an upper, or a 1-wall system, just the upper.
Well, my advice would be that you need a licensed tree expert to devise a plan to save that tree.
Okay? So you don't have an opinion then as to which of those 2 is correct?
I can't say it's gonna die 100%.
I didn't ask, I said,
but-
is there one that's preferable, one that will increase the chances of the tree surviving?
There are ways that could increase the trees to survive.
Okay, but from your opinion, then, it doesn't make any difference whether there's 2 walls or 1.
At this point, no,
Okay.
but,
Okay, that's the only thing I'm asking. Is there, instead of the emerald green arborvitae, is there a plant that the deer don't eat that would fit in that space?
yes, there are.
Okay, what would that be?
Well, at the last meeting, you told me I wasn't a landscape architect, so I'm not gonna tell you the answer to that question.
Okay,
Oh, go ahead,
fine.
you're allowed to. Go ahead.
There are plants that would survive in there, but it's
You know which
it's almost a hydroponic situation where you've got not
Why don't you
enough
just tell me
soil
which ones then?
there's not enough soil mass to support trees. When you have asphalt and you have a wall and you're backfilling, you're planting in whatever is
Let me go
backfilled.
back to my question. What ones have a better chance of surviving?
There are species of juniper that are a little bit more tolerant of those conditions.
If we went with the 6-foot wall, so we eliminate the terrace effect, we have the 6-foot wall, would that give more soil mass to enable plants to survive?
Well, it would, whatever you planted on top of it would be that much taller to begin with. So, I mean, if you had a 6-foot wall, you're planting this,
You're
an
planting down
8-foot
below
tree
the
on top
6-foot
of it,
wall.
you got 14 feet of, is that?
Well,
In the area
You'd be
where
below
you have tiered walls next to the off-site 18-inch. That row there, if you were to modify the wall from 3 foot, you're gonna be planting at existing grade at the property line. and
Right.
the Wall will be 6 feet behind it, so effectively, you'll lose 3 feet of height on the landscaping when you change over going south
Right.
into that area. In the area nearest the garage and the side yard variance being requested, the existing garage, there's a single retaining wall and the planting is behind it. So you're still in either scenario preserving that height of that landscaping and that screening. It's when you go to where the tiered walls are and south that you
Right.
lose the height.
Right, okay.
Joe, can you turn your mic on?
All right, so did you understand what our engineer explained as far as the soil mass?
I'm not sure what he said. I charged my hearing aids, but I left them home on my desk, so it's not helping very much here.
Okay. If we went with a 6-foot wall, it would give us 6 feet off it would be like approximately 6 feet off the property line. Is that correct?
It is. It's about 5 feet to the front of the wall.
Okay.
So what you have currently is an area that's roughly 4 feet, 3.5 to 4 feet wide to plant in between the walls.
Right. And if we went with the 6-foot wall, we'd have approximately
You'd have
5 foot plus.
You'd have the 5 feet of the property to the property line.
Right.
And then there would be no restriction of the roots into lot 55
Right.
eastward.
So do you understand what our engineer was saying as far as the, where if we put a 6-foot wall, went for the 6-foot wall instead of the 2 3s, to be approximately 5 feet of soil at the grade level. Is that correct?
Right.
At grade level
So you
for plantings. Would that increase the survivability of the trees?
That is a tool that could be used to increase the survival of the tree, but you're going to need an aerification system. Basically, you don't think about tree roots needing oxygen, but they do. The roots stratify through the soil based upon clay and sand and gravel content of. So we don't have trees that have a root system like a carrot. They spread out. Most of the tree roots are within 30 inches of the surface of the soil. So if you're increasing that, you can fool them by using a high sand and gravel content in the backfill material. But you can also run aerification pipes going through there. But the issue would be the impervious surface of the driveway is going to restrict water and air exchange to the, you would like to be able to encourage the roots to grow up into that new strata. But, this is an older tree and it's not going to be happy, but we may be able to arrive at a sustainable situation, but it's going to take some expertise. You're going to have to bring in Bartlett tree experts or Save a Tree, a company, a full service tree company that is able to oversee this project during the course of construction.
Brady, any other questions?
I may have one, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Linson, you had indicated you came up with a value of trees that are affected at $107,000.
Yes.
Trees does that include?
I guess you didn't see my report, but there's a 9-inch diameter Japanese red maple, a twin-leader 7-inch by 5-inch diameter Japanese red maple, a 9-inch diameter Japanese red maple, a 3.5-inch diameter Japanese red maple, the 22.4-inch diameter Norway maple, and a 13.5 by 15.5 diameter Norway maple. Those 6 trees.
Where are those trees located on this plan?
They're starting almost all the way out at the road, and then ending. The 6th tree is right up here.
The one that's on our client's property.
So,
The one that's on our client's property, it
well,
be included.
the information that I had was that, and I saw the survey, was marked in the field, and I'm not a surveyor, but
Okay, you're
I
not.
saw the line that was marked with tape for
So
the
it
entire
includes-
stretch of the property line,
it
and
includes
I
the
have to
tree
go with the fact that the center of that tree is on Miss Sellers' property.
So you disregard the engineering plan that's in evidence?
I think it's incorrect.
Oh, you do?
I mean, there's two
As a
different,
tree expert?
there's two different
Mr.
surveys.
Linson,
Why don't
unless
you
you
put them
have- Mr.
together and
Linson,
find
hold on,
out
hold on.
whose it is?
Hold on, unless you have a survey that places that tree on the seller's property, we have to accept the one we have.
Well, then you have to go with the one you have. But
Was there a stakeout by
but
a
Miss-
surveyor?
I know Ms. Sellers disagrees with that.
Was there?
I'm just going on record the fact that she, another surveyor has identified the center of that tree to be on her
I
property.
object to even the testimony.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna ask, does Ms. Sellers have a survey that's of the property?
Yeah, well, she had surveying work done. That's what Mr. Linson relied on. We don't have the survey itself.
So, Mr. Chairman, I object to the entire
Well-
line of any testimony
Well,
about.
I understand that, but
Mr. Brady asked the questions.
I understand that, but nonetheless, if their survey shows that it's on their property, we can't decide boundaries.
No, the only survey that we can consider
Is that,
is
I
that which is
understand,
in evidence.
I understand that, but they could go into court and say, no, that tree's on our property.
Well, they should be here with the survey if
Should
you're
be
going
here
to
with the
dispute.
survey.
Right.
tree
Only
location.
survey and evidence for this board to consider is the one
And
by
Right.
Ms. Muller.
this witness
So
is
we-
not qualified.
So we'd have to go
for
with
that.
yours,
Right.
and they'd have, if they want to do something, they have to do it at a later date. So we have to go with yours.
And we don't have a survey indicating that where any of these other Japanese maples are either. They're not shown on the plans, and there's no survey to indicate where they are on the neighboring property.
And if there were an appeal, it would be based on the evidence before the board, can't be supplemented later. So all we have is this survey.
Right. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, earlier we talked about doing a field evaluation and making decisions in the field. In two different locations, can we just make that sort of a boundary issue and have some of these decisions made in the field rather than trying to decide all these things right here?
That's your bailiwick.
From an engineering perspective,
I know.
before the lawyer gives you the legal perspective, the difference in the discussion had previously about the other side is specific to preserving existing trees or removing and replacing them. Irrespective of boundary. On the other side, what you're discussing is the boundary of the property, and what you have in front of you is only one professional's position on record, which is the survey of this applicant, to determine the boundary.
I'm referring to the trees from the street back to
So,
the end of the
right,
front
so
garage.
I see on the plan, 2/8 nearest the road going from north to south.
Yep.
On lot 55, the adjacent property.
Right.
A 6. I believe those 2/8 and the 6 are part of what the objector's professional was discussing. There is then an 18 in the middle of the property at that property line on lot 55, the adjacent property. The 28-inch nearest the storm system that we discussed before being the majority of on the applicant's property. And then there is a 24 further into the applicant's property behind that.
Right. So the 18 we discussed as being maybe having a 6-foot wall rather than a 3 and 3.
Correct.
The one further back, from what we can tell, is on the applicant's property.
Correct, the 28. There, in
So-
between those two, there is a 6 and 18 further into the subject property,
Well into it.
yes,
Come out.
which are proposed.
Which are that's right. So really, we're only talking about the two by the street?
Yes, and I would point out, Mr. Benoit, if you look at that plan carefully, the plan by Ms. Muller, you'll see a dotted line. That's the current arrangement of the driveway,
Yep,
as I
just gonna bring
understand
that
it.
up.
there's nothing going on in front of the property near the street that's any different in the future than it is now.
And what it is now.
That 6-inch and that double 8-inch.
That was gonna be my question.
Okay.
Is there anything, I mean, if they're in that part of that $107,000, but nothing's happening to those 3 trees? Nothing's happening near them, right?
There's just essentially a straightening of the curb line at that point, which is in the same location or further into the property as you go from the 96 contour out to the street. So they're matching grades and straightening that curb line.
And if you look along the same lines, if you look towards the rear where that L is, the existing pavement is inside, and Mr. Voigt can estimate far quicker than me, but probably 5 feet from where the new retaining wall is provided. So in terms of adding any cover or impervious surface, I would argue it's a minimal amount.
There is a pretty close, 4 to 5 feet maximum from the existing curb line in that area to the outside of the first wall, so the interior wall. So that parking area is coming as close as 4 feet closer in that section, which is about 30 feet long, north to south.
Thank you.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any members of the public with questions of this witness? Board members, any other questions? Seeing none, hearing none. Okay. Your next witness, counsel.
I'm going to call Ms. Sellers briefly.
Thank you.
Ms. Sellers, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank you. Again, your name for the record, please.
Margaret by Maggie Sellers.
Thank you.
Ms. Sellers, I just pointed out a few minutes ago that we're on our 7th hearing before the board. So I'm going to try our best not to go over testimony that we've done before. But you testified extensively, and we gave a booklet to the board, and it showed a lot of pictures from different points in your residence and a lot of angles about how this proposed house would affect you, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And so you acknowledge that addition A has now been moved back some feet?
yes, 3
Okay.
stories of it, yes.
Yep. And you understand that addition A is now back to the setback that's required?
Yes,
Okay. And you're still not happy about addition A?
correct.
Okay. And you're not happy about it because it's a large wall and there's a lot of windows looking towards your property?
Well, from the ground to the peak of the roof at the bottom, you have to understand the topography. Mr. Ewing's house is above mine, the Nugent is above his, then we get to mine, it's a little bit lower. You've got garage, bedroom with ensuite, then the ground pitches down, and from my side of the property, I see 3 stories on that ground level.
Right.
37 feet and 46 inches, I think what I'm going to be looking at.
And so,
3 stories.
So if we had to do all that testimony over tonight, we're obviously pleased that it's moved back, but it's still going to have a significant impact on your property.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And if we had to go through each item of testimony that we went through last time, all the views of that addition looking down on your house, into the various windows, into your bedroom, that testimony would all be the same.
Correct.
Even with it going back to the setback because it's a very large mass and it's tall.
Correct, it got pushed over 6 more feet, but it's still huge.
Okay. So the board heard you last time, and you passed out the booklet that we had with all the pictures, and I know the board paid attention. We're going to trust that they all remember that testimony. So what we're going to focus on is the fact that right now, the closest portion of this house is currently the existing garage.
Correct.
Okay. And currently, the existing garage doesn't have windows that face your direction.
Correct.
Okay. And you're asking the board to consider the fact that they're proposing that the existing garage be moved over 3.78 feet closer to your property.
They're requesting that, yes.
Okay,
I
but
understand that, yes.
what I'm asking you is, does that upset you?
Yes.
Okay, that's getting closer to your property.
Yes, it's getting closer to my property. It's putting living space above the current garage that's there now. Right now, it's garage and a nice peaked roof, which is typical of the neighborhood, that pitch that roof is right now, with the slate roof. It's beautiful, or it was.
And so you're upset because the garage is getting closer and there's living space above with windows facing your direction?
Correct.
Okay. And this is a big deal to you?
It's a huge deal.
Okay. So I'm trying to summarize a little bit here, but you want the board to understand that you're a realtor in this area?
Correct, 30 plus years now.
Okay. You know all the houses in the area?
I know a lot of them.
You've sold the applicant's house, or at least shown it on a number of occasions?
Sold it 3 times, rented it once.
Okay. And your testimony is that this house is going to be much larger than any other house in the neighborhood?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Around our area. Now, that said, I think it's 48. Springbrook is on almost 2 acres, and that's about 4,800 square feet. So that's a bigger house, but the lot is almost 4 times what Mr. Ewing has.
And
It's appropriate size-wise.
And trying to summarize, because the house is as big as it could possibly get, maximizing everything, you're asking the board to enforce the side yard setback on the garage and the living space above.
I am, because it's not necessary. There's no hardship. It's got no hardship here.
Okay. And the testimony with the trees has gone a little all over the place, but your general belief is that the trees have always been a nice buffer between your property and this property.
Yes, and there were pictures in the files, I'm sure that you have, that you could
Yep.
see.
In the booklet that we
Right.
passed out, there were pictures not only of your property, but of Springbrook in general,
Mm-hmm.
focused on trees dividing the various properties and the neighborhood that it created.
Right, you also have a copy of the original Springbrook brochure that I like to pull out because it talks about the original development of the neighborhood and how trees and the beauty of the land are maintained.
So I'm going to talk to the board at the end, and I'm going to summarize all the reasons that we're against this application being approved as it is. But that's what you wanted the board to know, that even though there's been some improvements to the property at least 3 different times, the encroachment that still comes to your property by the garage and the living space and the mass of the house still upsets you, and you wish the board would not approve it.
It's the mass, it's almost 8,000 square feet in total, including the garages. I looked at my property card and the Nugent's property card. And I've got twice the property size that Mr. Ewing has. So my total property size on my property card is 4,809 square feet. I have 0.87 acres. The Nugents have 5,186 square feet. They have 0.48 acres. If this plan is approved, Mr. Ewing is going to have almost 8,000 square feet structure on 0.45 acres. It does not fit into the neighborhood. It's too big to that small lot.
And for that reason, you're asking the court to enforce the regulations as strictly as possible?
Yes, absolutely.
I know you're upset about this, and I know you'd probably like to keep talking about it, but the board, heard you the first time. Is there anything else that you think we're missing tonight that we haven't said?
Yes, a few things,
previously?
actually, a few things. We keep hearing that the garage as it is now is not functional. I think even the planner tonight said that. I have pictures I took last week. They left the shades open in the garage. There's cars in that garage right now. It is not a garage that's not functional by today's standards. I can share the pictures with you if you'd like. That garage is 446 square feet today. Mine That garage was built in 1930. My garage was added to my home sometime in the 80s. It's 399 square feet. At one point, I got a 2010 Land Cruiser and a Mercedes XL in my garage. No problem. And my garage is significantly smaller than what's there now. So I say again, there's no hardship that requires this expansion. They're only trying to expand the garage so they can facilitate another bedroom upstairs. Bedroom suite with 4 closets and a bathroom. It's wrong. It's too big for the property. And I've lived here, I've been paying taxes on this house for almost 22 years now, paying taxes on my other house in the town for almost 30 years. I've done everything by the book, and any work I've ever done on my property, I would never request something egregious as this against my neighbors. I think it's just appalling that's even being asked for. And it's, as a realtor, I'll say it's going to affect my property value. I also want to touch on for a second with the appraiser that they called in as a witness. That appraiser I looked up after the testimony that he gave, he's listed on LinkedIn as a commercial.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to object to comments on the appraiser's qualifications. That would have been appropriate at the time that he testified, not now.
Oh, I think it's
He's a
still.
commercial appraiser, not a residential appraiser, per his LinkedIn page.
I think they can still challenge his credibility, even though they're not asking him to his face. She can still make comments about what he has said on other locations.
Well, then we have Ms. Sellers saying her opinion of what her lookup on the internet shows about that appraiser. I object to his testimony.
He's listed as a commercial appraiser that did
And
6
he's not
appraisals
here
last year.
to testify as to what's on his site or what he meant by it or what it might
Okay.
actually say. I don't
And he
think we
might
should
be, and he
permit
might
it.
be trying to expand his business into commercial, so he's putting that on his LinkedIn page, because most businesses look there as
As a
opposed to word
realtor,
of mouth.
question his ability to say that this is a
Residential.
So
I would object to that. I'm not going to allow that to come in.
We made our points when the appraiser testified.
Okay.
Okay, let me see what else I have here. Oh, current garage, 446 square feet. Took the liberty of having an engineer friend of mine
You can't
sketch in.
you can't say what an engineer told you.
She's sitting right there. She's an engineer.
Then she can testify to it. But your point is that 2 cars fit in that garage, and the applicant hasn't denied it. They just want 2 larger cars to fit in the garage with larger garage doors.
2 of his Land Rover Defender 130s fit in this current garage now.
Can we get back to question and answer?
Okay, sure. I'm just
So
trying to
that
make some
Mr.
points
Brady
that,
can object to
I mean, they're
anything
saying
that,
it's not,
just a second. So Mr. Brady can object to anything that might be hearsay.
Hearsay.
Counsel, can you follow that pattern?
I can.
Okay.
She'll testify about that, but we're on, the 4 cars is on the record, so
Okay, but the current garage is not antiquated. Cars fit in that garage, and it's being used now. End of
Fine.
that story. Okay.
good.
So therefore, I say there's no hardship to have this be approved. And I respectfully say to all of you, I mean, I respect what you do, with all due respect. I think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable for me to ask you to consider this be over the top with what's being requested. It does not fall into the line of what the rest of the homes in my beautiful neighborhood look like. And it's not appropriate.
It's a good place to stop. Mr. Chairman, that's all the questions we have.
All right. Any other?
I have no questions.
Okay. Any questions?
I do not.
Any board members with questions?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Do you have a second story on top of your garage?
No,
It looks like it in the picture.
I don't have a second story. There's an attic that has a peak that I can only stand up
Window,
barely in the
right?
middle. I don't have it,
Window, so there is a second story.
but it's not,
That's not a second story.
it's an
Do
attic.
you know if your garage is within the side yard setback?
That was built in 1980, so I didn't do it. It was there when I bought the house, so I'm not sure exactly how many feet from the property line it is. That I don't know, but I didn't do it, so.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and I know what else I want to say about the survey. If I can add that, the surveyor, that they're questioning, Casey and Keller did my survey when I bought.
Right, but you can't testify about what the results of the survey are because it's not here.
Okay,
And
I
they're
can
not
get a
here to
copy of it.
testify.
I have a question. You're objecting to the massing. Is that in the zone? Is there some standard for the massing? I'm trying to understand your position on A, that you're saying the massing is too much.
Well, I'm talking
I
about the
mean, we know
entire
what
mass,
height
right?
is. We know what setback is.
Mhm.
What is the requirement for massing?
Yeah, Mr. Kramer, I would answer faster if you wouldn't mind me answering.
Please.
Okay, so there's people in the neighborhood who feel that the house is too big, and I'm going to say this when I get to my closing, okay? So I'm just summarizing so I get to your point. But we do understand that if the house is set within the rules and within the setbacks, then those are the rules, okay? What we're going to ask, at least on behalf of Ms. Sellers at the end, is that because you will note that this is going to be the largest house in the neighborhood, you know, on a smaller lot, simply that you cross all the Ts and dot all the Is to enforce the rules and not give extra, because it's not justified in this case to give extra. So the focus is on the garage and the living space above the garage.
So, but I heard a lot of testimony about about it's too big, the windows are too high.
Correct.
I heard a lot of testimony about that.
But to be fair, Mr. Kramer, we also have been here for 6 meetings where you were told over and over and over again that it couldn't be moved, it couldn't be changed, that they had to have it, that it would wreck the design of the house if they moved it over, and then magically when you're about to vote, it moved. All right? So I understand that's frustrating, right? But that is what happened, right? So.
But now it's been moved, and I'm still hearing testimony about something that's compliant.
Correct, but that the neighbors are not zoning experts, and they don't have either my legal knowledge or the planning, and so they'll tell you things they're upset about. But when we get to the end, Mr. Brady is going to tell you the points that he thinks you should focus on to vote tonight, and I'm going to tell you technical points that I think you should vote on, and it's not going to be 90% of, unfortunately, what we've spent time on.
Okay.
When we say mass, it's the whole building of almost 8,000 square feet.
Oh, yeah, they understand. Yeah.
Okay. It's not just the mass of the way, it's the whole thing, almost 8,000 square feet on.
They got it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Do you have another witness?
No.
Any other members of the public wish to testify? Any other members of the public wish to testify? Okay.
Testify or comments?
Well, we had testimony, so are we doing testimony now or
Comments or what?
We're beyond questions, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because that was we started comments.
Yeah, so we'll start,
Yes.
so we'll start comments. Comments.
Should we break first?
Do you need a break? Okay, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Meeting as of Township of Morris Board of Adjustment. Ms. Santiago, roll call.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Goldberg,
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yeah.
Mr. Benoit,
Yeah.
Mr. Kramer,
Yeah.
Ms. Simmons, Ms. Pulara, Mr. Woodford,
Here.
Mr. Roller,
Here.
Mr. Bush, Mr. Bush,
Yes, here.
and I, Sonia Santiago, here.
Okay, we're, any other people? Okay, we're just gonna, there's other people coming back into the room, we're gonna wait a second. Get back in here. Okay, we are now up to the point where the public can comment on the application. Try not to go over in detail what you said earlier, but comment on the changes specific to this application, and the testimony that was elicited tonight. Does that sound like a fair appraisal?
Yes.
Council, you'd agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, members of the public, anybody wishing to make any statements?
I'll just, yeah, good.
My name's Bill Robinson. I'm at 9 Spring Hill Lane. I've been in the neighborhood for, I
So,
think,
Mr. Robinson, before you get going,
Oh,
would you
yes.
raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I
And
do.
again, your name for the record, please.
Bill Robinson, address 9 Spring Hill Lane. I've been in the neighborhood for 35 years, and I gave some extensive comments at the last time we had public comments, so I'm not going to rehash that, but I'm just saying some of the testimony that I've recently heard gave me additional concern about the potential loss of trees and greenery, because to me, that's one of the kind of signature points of our neighborhood is the fact that it's very rich in space and growth and trees, and anything that would endanger that I'd be concerned about. And the fact that we've already got a variance condition and we're exacerbating that and potentially sacrificing more trees and growth is a concern to me.
Thank you.
That's my comment. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to comment?
So Paul, this is like the summation of just my points. So
Okay.
Anthony.
You gotta be sworn in,
Right,
Mr.
please, do
Yep.
you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give to this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your name, please?
Anthony Nugent, 38 Springbrook Road.
Okay.
The only thing I asked this, you all know my feelings. I just asked the board to enforce the variances that what the town has put in place to protect homeowners. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, hearing none, close the public portion. Council, do you wish to make a summation?
I do. If I make it. So if I was being candid with the board, if I was the board, I'd be annoyed. And I wouldn't blame the board for being annoyed. This is our 7th hearing. And blame is usually goes around both sides. I think the neighbors in the neighborhood sometimes have been a little unfocused in the fact that they don't like the application, they don't like how big it is. But I always find it's much easier to blame somebody who's not in the room. And the reason that we're here for 7 meetings, I'm going to blame it on Mr. Dorn. Because when he testified that when the applicant came to him, they went over everything he wanted. And they never looked at the zoning regulations. That was the key part of this testimony. And that's why we've been here for 7 meetings. Because when they came here, the application had too many variances, it was too big, it violated too many rules. And credit to Mr. Brady, because I know how he works, over 7 meetings, multiple times, the property, the plan has shrunk and become more conforming. But I want the board to note this, that at each time when there was testimony, particularly Mr. Dorn's testimony, we would ask questions about why the office had to be extended, because it had to be for symmetry. It would ruin the house, he said. And then the next meeting we came and it was gone. We probably fought here for 3 meetings on Addition A. We were told it couldn't move, that it would wreck the house, that it couldn't be designed any other way, that you people just don't understand. This was world-class architecture. And yet here in the 7th meeting, it moves, right? So, I hope that when the board is thinking about this, they understand that all of those changes could have been made in Mr. Dorn's office at the very first meeting, and this board, minus 3.78 feet tonight, would have probably had 1 meeting on this. So this is a large house. This is a house that is bigger than the rest in the neighborhood. The neighbors are reacting to it, but if it's within the rules, it's within the rules. But when a property is particularly small, or when a house is conforming with a neighborhood, the board probably has more opportunity to give variances, to give exceptions in different directions. When a house is out of character with the neighborhood, when it's exceptionally large, when it's maximizing its footprint on a piece of property, I would urge the board that you then focus on all the regulations, and I think the board has, and that's why this house has shrunk and moved, but you need to continue to do that tonight. Your master plan in 2007 talks about, in the first objective, goals and objectives A on page 15, preserving the predominantly single-family residential neighborhood of the community. And then it talks about the context with established scale and character of surrounding homes. All right, so what I'm saying tonight and what the neighbors have been reacting to, sometimes a little all over the place, is the fact that this house is out of scale and context with the rest of the neighborhood. But if it's in compliance with the rules, fair enough. This house continues not to be in compliance with the rules because you have the 3.78 feet that they want to add and the second story that they want to add. Why would the applicant be here tonight asking for 3.78 feet after 7 meetings and a second story that encroaches over that garage onto my client's setback that protects her from the neighborhood property? Why? What is so important? And in the testimony tonight, Mr. Toby is a very good witness, and he did his best, but the best he could say was that they were modernizing the garage. The modernizing the garage, a garage on a plan of a house that already accommodates 4 cars. In a system where you have, in a house where you have house plans and you can accommodate 4 cars, the reason for the variance of 3.78 feet is to modernize after you can already fit 4 cars. The real reason is the increase in bedroom number 4. Increase in bedroom number 3. Bedroom number 3, when you stop and you look at that plan, the bedroom itself has 3 closets within the room. So why does it have to be 6 feet over towards the property line? So that it can have an additional 6-foot walk-in closet. The board can't justify, respectfully, because it's your decision, not mine, but you can't justify granting a variance for that second story when staring at you, plain as day, is a 6-foot walk-in closet that is the 4th closet for that bedroom, that is the reason that that wall and that window is getting pushed into the side yard setback. And then what it really does is it goes back to this needs versus wants argument. And I wrote down some of the quotes from Mr. Dorn. He said that he had to design it this way because the rooms were less than adequate size. A room with 3 closets is adequate size. I don't care how you would calculate that or how you would analyze it. It would have to be adequate size. Mr. Kramer's point is right. Mr. Kramer's point is that the neighbors are still focused on the fact that this house is large, and Ms. Sellers is focused on the fact that the one wall in her backyard where the ground floor walkout basement is exposed is going to be very large and is going to dominate her backyard. And so that doesn't create a zoning reason, but it accommodates why she is upset about this application. And Mr. Tobia testified that when you have an encroachment, the higher the encroachment, the more impact it has on the surrounding property. So the height of that wall is not a variance in the back on addition A, but the height of the wall on addition B is a variance. The whole thing is a variance, and the applicant's own planner testified that the more height, the more impact. So again, I'm focused on the second story. The other thing with the adding the 3.78 feet is the 3.78 feet could accommodate more room and more buffer between the 2 properties, one way or the other, if you align the driveway to the side of the building. But no effort has been made for that, and we're here after all of this with a variance that's fighting over 3.78 feet because the applicant just had to have it. Just had to have it, needs versus wants. So I'm just going to leave you with one final thought, and I mean this respectfully, but if you approve a side yard setback encroachment, and you approve it based upon the fact that we need to modernize garages after 4 cars can already fit there, and you need a bedroom that has 3 closets plus a 6-foot wide walk-in closet, if that's the rationale for approving a side yard setback, you'll never be able to deny another one. They'll all be approved, because there will never be reasons less frivolous than those to approve a side yard setback. So I'm asking you to vote no, based upon the applicant's insistence that we continue with the encroachments that come from addition B. Thank you.
Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I already did a closing argument once, so I'll try not to hit everything again.
Please take as much time as you need.
But, we've heard about the history of this house, and we've kind of heard objections to it.
Just a second. Justin, can you turn that mic on again and aim it towards you? Thanks.
Better?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's recording. That's fine.
We've heard about the history of the house, and that it seems to have been fine in the past, and it's been sold several times. But, renovating, upgrading, modernizing houses, basically, is what we do in America. There's a whole TV show genre that's based upon doing that. And coming into a house, taking a house from the 1930s with a 1930s layout and modernizing it helps the community, helps the zoning, helps the values in the neighborhood. The fact that it's sold many times, one of those buyers was Mr. Ewing. And now that he owns it and it's his property, he wants to modernize it. We've heard a lot about the house is too big. Well, the house isn't really what this board is looking at. The board is looking at the variance tonight, which is the variance on that existing garage. The house, in fact, is not too big because the size of the house in Morris Township in this zone is regulated and controlled by the metrics of the zoning code. In terms of size, the house is not too tall. The house does not exceed impervious coverage. The house fits all the setbacks now except for a pre-existing setback on the right side, and we have on the left side the pre-existing setback, and we are asking for a variance to intensify that. And the reason to intensify that is not just, or is incorrectly characterized as, well, we want to fit 2 cars in there. Testimony was not just that we want to fit 2 cars in the existing garage. Testimony was existing garage, and if you look at the pictures that were in Mr. Tobia's report, the existing garage is right up against the house. It's a rear-facing garage, and to get into the garage on the left-hand bay, you've got to basically go right down along that house very close to it. You then have a pillar in the middle. You have garage doors that were really meant to accommodate older, narrower cars, not today's cars. Inside the garage, you have no connection to the house. I've got a detached garage, I've got an attached garage. For several years, my car was in the detached garage while we had furniture and antiques and whatnot in the other garage with my wife's car. Once I got to be able to move to the attached garage, it's a whole new story in terms of the convenience and the parking. So that's what wants to be done here. We want to take this house from the 1930s. We want to upgrade that garage, make it more usable, not only from a width point of view, but from a geometry for getting in and out, from a height point of view to make sure that the vehicles can fit in, and just as important, being able to get into the house from inside the garage. It's not unusual to have a second story on a garage and to have a bedroom above a garage. It is an intensification. Mr. Tobia indicated it's an intensification. The question for the board is twofold. You have the positive criteria under the C1 or C2 analysis. There's somewhat of a C1 analysis here with regard to that garage. There's also somewhat of a C2 in that the benefits of making that garage more usable outweigh any detriments. When we come to extending above a garage, we have a situation where it's typical to have that sort of extension of a bedroom above a garage. And we are, we are at, I lost my notes from, we're at 14 feet where it should be 20. So we're 6 feet closer than permitted. And compared to where we are now, we're a little bit more than 3.5 feet, 3 3/4 feet. The question, but Mr. Tobia has indicated these types of variances can be supported under subsections A, C, G, I, and M of the land use.
Can you go over those again, please, those numbers?
Yeah, A, C, G, I, and M.
Okay.
Okay. And the upgrading of a house, making it more usable, user-friendly, owner-friendly, upgrading of the house so that it does not fall behind the times, is sufficient basis on the positive criteria for the board to approve this. On the negative criteria, the board would have to find a substantial detriment to granting the variance, either a substantial detriment to the neighbors or to the zone plan. There's been nothing to indicate this is a substantial detriment to the zone plan, and Mr. Tobia's professional opinion, it would not be a substantial detriment to the zone plan or zoning scheme. With regard to a substantial detriment to the neighbors, with all due respect to Ms. Sellers, this is a zone where you, with a 20-foot side back, you expect to see your neighbor. The new garage will have 3 windows. We heard about a window overlooking the seller's property. We'll have 3 windows, 2 at the lower level in the garage. There's activity in the garage. We all know when there's activities in garages. We probably all have them. Cars come in, car goes out, light may turn on, light may turn off. That's it. It's at ground level. On the second level, there's one window for the bedroom. Again, the amount of activity that goes on in that bedroom is minimal in terms of anybody looking out over the cellar property. Might be different if it was the family room, might be different if it was some sort of elevated veranda where you might go out and have cocktails or have a barbecue. That's not the case here. This is one window facing the seller's property. And I would suggest to the board the difference between 20 feet and 14 feet for that one window is negligible. Second story addition itself is below what it could be. It could be much higher, and Mr. Tobia testified about this, and it could be at 20 feet and be much higher. And if it was, that may actually have more impact on Ms. Sellers than the fact that this is a little close. We have an extensive landscaping program. We've indicated to the board we would work with Mr. Voigt's office to make sure that landscaping program works. We'll put it in a deed with regard to maintaining it. We'll replace that maple tree, the Norway maple, which is an invasive species, by the way, if it dies within 2 years. We've agreed to a list of stipulations and conditions that Mr. Tobia reviewed with you. When the board takes the entirety of this into consideration, we've satisfied the criteria for this, and the board should grant it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, board members, it's time to start hearing opinions.
Well, before we do that, let me just focus in on what they're asking, because there have been several plan changes, and I think we've heard this, but I'll just, as you're getting your thoughts together. The variances that are now before you as a result of the plan changes are side yard setback on the left side to the garage expansion, right, at 14 feet, 20 feet is required, 17.78 feet is the current condition, right? The combined side yard setback of 29.44 feet. Again, 50 feet is required. The existing condition is 33.22 feet. There's a very de minimis front yard setback because of the way the house is situated. So there's a matter of inches when you add that second floor to the front yard. So there's that very small front yard setback. All right. And then I just want to run through if there's a proposal to approve the conditions that we've discussed. It would be no elevated lighting at the stair risers, but they may use low voltage lighting. There'd be no floodlights permitted. Only sconces may be permitted on the building. We'd have to add a railing if the wall height along the stairs exceeded 30 inches. Pool equipment would be housed within the pool house, and it may not vent. They may not vent the pool equipment towards the neighbor. There can be no separate rental units within the dwelling, and they would do that as a deed restriction. They would have to, there's a couple of small plan corrections to make. They'll correct the location of the AC pads and maybe the signature line. They'll also maintain and replace the landscape buffer plan in perpetuity, all right? And record a deed notice so indicating. The form and substance of that would have to be approved by myself and the board engineer. With respect to the replacement of a maple tree, should it die within 2 years of the granting of the CO, they would replace it with a tree of at least a 6-inch caliper. It would, however, be placed on the applicant's property, not the neighbor's property. And there was some discussion that I think the board should discuss if there's a motion to approve this, to modify the retaining wall at the left side yard to a single wall to preserve the large Norway maple tree. That redesign would be subject to the township engineer's approval. It could exceed the maximum 6-foot height, and that would be based on field review with the applicant and the town engineer. And they would have to maintain the 2 8-inch trees at the southwesterly property line and conform the landscape plan to the site plan upon field coordination with the township engineer. That's what I had for variances. Anything else?
Conditions.
Okay. For the conditions, rather. Yeah.
You satisfied with those conditions?
Satisfied with those conditions.
Any of you think that Mr. Older might have missed?
The only thing that I raise is with regard to the replacement tree. I would assume that can be on the neighbor's property if the neighbor allows, or on our property.
Of course, yes. If I didn't want to place that requirement on you and then the neighbor object to it. So if the neighbor would agree to that being replaced on their property, that would work as well. Okay.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything to add? Okay. So board members, any comments on this application? You want to start us off with where you're thinking?
Sure, I'll start off. I appreciate the objector's attorney, his points raised here tonight versus the needs versus the wants in terms of that bedroom above the garage. I mean, on my site visit to the property, I saw 2 vehicles in the garage. Yes, I know it's not attached. You can't get access to the house through the garage. I think Mr. Toby's testimony earlier this evening was that they wanted to be able to put a higher, larger vehicle in the garage. So, I saw vehicles in the garage. So I'm assuming you can house vehicles in the garage. And if you're constructing 2 other garage bays, perhaps design those to accommodate the larger vehicles. So in this particular instance, I'm thinking to provide, after hearing from the neighborhood, the residents about the neighborhood, hearing from everyone, that we wouldn't want to exacerbate for 3.7 feet to sort of grant that variance. So I would like to hear from other board members what they think in terms of, whether that to eliminate that walk-in closet in the one bedroom pulls it back 3 feet, right, or 4 feet maybe, and keeps it within the boundaries of the current zoning requirements, and not providing any additional hardship to the neighbor for a house and square footage which doesn't really conform with the character and presentation of the current neighborhood on those lot sizes. So I am a little annoyed to the objector's attorney's point on how long we've spent on this, and that when it did come up for a vote, we're about to vote, all of a sudden everything shrunk down. So that we're still here sort of going back and forth about the 3.7 feet. I'm sort of leaning towards not providing that relief and exacerbating things to his point of, how any other variance that comes before us in terms of modernizing or when taken in totality of the size of the whole project, that we're going to sort of, dance around the edges there. So that's just what I'm thinking on it. So I don't, if we eliminated that walk-in closet, pulled it back 3.5, 4 feet, is it correct that there would be no variances needed? Is that accurate?
I think you have to go back
It would
6
still be
feet.
a variance because it's already non-conforming, because you're building above a non-conforming. So to your point, if you pulled back that wall 3-something feet, 3 3/4, I don't know that would make you kill off I'm not an architect. Maybe the closet goes to 5 feet and the room shrinks a little bit as well, but you would still need a variance because it's not 20 feet.
Mhm.
So there's an intermediate stage there. Perhaps, I'm not designing anything for anyone, but perhaps there's an intermediate step there.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the existing setback, that's the variance to begin with.
Right.
Existing.
Yeah. I
Right,
mean, I'd
but
like
but
to-
the speculation isn't in front of us as to whether they could pull it back or not, or condition it on them pulling it back. We're voting on the plans that are before us right now.
Right. Unless they'd be willing to, I don't know what the,
No, we
Can't
can't,
do that.
we have to go through the whole, have new architectural plans and everything else because we don't know what the structure, I'm not an architect, I'm not an engineer. I can't say, well, you just pull that back and everything works. You could be, putting too much stress on walls. I'm sure they can fix anything for a price, but you'd have to see the plans. And still, you'd still need a variance for the front yard. But that's de minimis. Yeah, I just can't get my head around this application still. I know it's been, Addition A was a real problem for me, but it's been revised first from, I think it started at 5 feet and then it went to 14.25 and now it's at 20.1. So it does meet the side yard requirement, even though, we've got the combined issues, but that would be for the addition B, which is the extension of the existing garage, and that would be going from 17.78 to, I think, was it 14 feet from the property line. And it seems like every other neighbor around here and every other house in the neighborhood has been able to cope with that size garage. And as it says, they can get 2 cars in there, and they would be looking at putting in another structure with 2 additional spots for cars in a garage. And so the larger cars could go in that other location. There's no need to expand this garage given the additional plans. I think I'd accept what the objector's attorney said in that if we grant this just because they want to expand, basically expand the bedroom above. I don't think I think the testimony was from Mr. Dorn that the ensuite bathroom is the way to go for everybody. Well, I don't think anybody that showed up here tonight has ensuite bathrooms for every single bedroom. So I don't think it is necessary to grant the expansion on addition B to further impinge upon the side yard. And I think that there was no testimony about a C1 claiming any topographical conditions of the property or exceptional situation required this variance. Instead, it was a C2. Basically, the testimony was about a C2. And the subsections that were cited, or the criteria that were cited, were the appropriate use and development of all lands in a manner that would promote public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Well, that doesn't apply to any single house. That applies to like master plans. And the same thing with C is to provide adequate light, air, space, and open light, air, and open space. And that's also a general planning for a master plan. G was to provide sufficient space and appropriate location for a variety of uses, including agricultural, resident, recreational, commercial, industrial, and open space, both public and private. But I don't think that G applies in this situation at all. That would leave us with I, to promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. But the testimony from the objectors is that this application is out of character with the neighborhood, which is a promotion of the general welfare. So this goal I does not apply. The last one was M, I believe it is to encourage coordination of various public and private procedures shaping land development. So once again, that's a general, something that applies to a master plan and not this specific application. But our master plan in the 2007, as cited by the objector's attorney, is that preserving the, I think it was the scale and character of the neighborhood. And I think this goes against that. So I would not be in favor of this application, but I want to hear from everybody else too.
Mr. Chairman, at first I'd like to thank the members of the public for coming here and spending all the time. Your voices are heard and they're very important. Yeah, we get annoyed. It's our job. Of course you do. And your annoyance helps us battle our annoyances because you know a lot of what's going on that we don't know. We rely on expert testimony. We rely on plans. We rely on understanding the zoning requirements, experience of past plans. So your being here and spending all the time here, we really appreciate that. I appreciate that. I think we all appreciate that. And this has been very difficult because the design is very nice. The character is very nice. I do really appreciate Mr. Urson's assessment of how things can change. Part of me says, well, it's 3 feet, 3.5 feet. I'm very concerned with the zone, very concerned with the character of the neighborhood, very concerned with the relative sizing of homes in the neighborhood. I've seen in other municipalities where all of a sudden you have this giant thing in there. You go, well, who allowed that? I'm not sure I want to be on the zoning board that allowed that. It's true, it's only 3.5 feet, but I am concerned about the the idea that, Mr. Chairman says, Mr. Urson said, what's the criteria through which we're going to allow an expansion of a zone, of a setback for that purpose? What precedent are we setting? And precedents are very important. So I'm leaning against, I mean, 2 cars do fit. You can put a door into the house from there. Everything else can go. The neighbor's still going to have a window. Still going to have a window up there, you know. But it would be within the zone, within the existing setback, if we're no additional expansion going on now. So I'm leaning against approving that setback expansion as well.
Any other board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Benoit, do you want to make a motion on this?
Sure. It's hard because I think it could be a really great project, but for that one thing. So I'm going to make a motion that we not approve the application as it is because of the addition on, I guess it's B. B and I don't even know what else to add to that.
Okay.
For the reasons that you said before and that Mr. Woodford stated.
Stated, yes. And what Mr. Goldberg stated. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
So we're voting on not to approve.
Yeah, so if you vote yes for this motion, which now has a second, right? So if you vote yes for this motion, you're voting to deny the application, okay?
Hey, Ms. Santiago, roll call.
Mr. Goldberg,
Yes.
Mr. Trachtenberg,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
No.
Mr. Schuster,
No.
Mr. Benoit,
Yes.
Mr. Kramer,
No.
Mr. Woodford.
Yes.
Okay, so motion carries and the application is denied.
Thank you for your time, lady.
Well, thank you. I know it's been hard. I know it's been a long journey, and this is the longest residential application I think we've ever had. But thank you. Okay, board members, we have one other matter of business. And-
I move that we approve extending. Sorry. do you
Okay,
wanna
no,
discuss it?
it's not, I don't think there's much to discuss. This is,
No, this
It's a
is,
letter.
this is the extension from SK Mount Campbell. They already have one extension, it brings them through October 24th of this year. They're looking for their second extension, October 24th of 26, for the same reasons we granted the first one.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
do you motion to approve the extension?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I mean, I didn't want to jump in front of you on that, but I think that's what was needed.
I didn't say I'm a slug.
What's that?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion,